I click live. I click live. Tick-tock. Time to rock. AP with the shekels. Always got the shekels. Can't have a show without the shekels, ladies and gentlemen. What
I
percentage?
believe in the
What per,
shekels.
what percentage Jewish are you, AP?
Um, I don't know. I think one test said I'm 12%, but that's probably not even true.
Oh,
So
12%. Yeah, so you're significantly more Jewish than I am. I am officially 2.7%. Ashkenazi Jew, notice. Smartest group in the world. How did David become such a super genius? You all know now. And so, based on everything I hear from all the groypers out there, everything is all about the shekels for us. It's all about the shekels. Where are my shekels at?
I was just thinking, it's so funny. When these Muslims or gropers and all that accuse you of being paid by Israel to say
Mm-hmm.
certain things, it just, to me, it just says more about them than it says about the accused, because they're basically telling you, oh, I would never support you know a cause unless those people actually pay me, unless I get something in return.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's basically what they do.
Yep, that is what they do. Yeah, so lots of stuff that goes on is projection. Anyway, guys, sorry we were late. Most of that was me. A bunch of you have been whining for over a week now, telling me to make a video about the Shroud of Turin. I actually recorded Gary Habermas, Dr. Gary Habermas, who's written 2 books on the Shroud. I recorded him. He spoke for 16 minutes. I asked him the question, is the Shroud of Turin a photograph of Jesus' resurrection? He responded for 16 minutes. And then, anyway, right before the show, I was recording. He just jumped right into it, like assuming people know what everyone's talking about, when I wanted to put a little intro there, a little introduction at the beginning for people for whom this is new stuff. So I recorded my own intro, and then I talked about my thoughts on the Shroud afterwards. So anyway, that's what I just finished up a couple minutes after 8. And now here we are talking about the size of Muhammad's tallywhacker.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that you sent me the link to join 5 or 6 minutes after it was time to go live. I was sitting there thinking, the absence of hikmah.
Yeah.
But then
Yes.
I was also kind of late. But as already Abraham said, and Moses said, and Jacob said, here I am.
I thought you were going to say, as all the prophets have said, better late than never.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We actually
That's
had
true.
we were in this was in prison. This was Stanton Correctional Center. And it was during Black History Month. And during Black History Month, there would be speakers who came in. And I was the only white guy who actually went to the Black History Month presentations and so on. Anyway, I was sitting in there, and this dude was an hour and a half late. This speaker was an hour and a half late. And I saw the most shockingly brilliant just improv before that, because there was a guy, it was an inmate who was hosting it, Robert Houchins. So he's hosting the thing and introducing them. And he stands up and says, okay, he's running a little late. Was told he's still going to be here. It's just going to be late. So I'll go ahead and tell you what I've learned. This guy was in his 60s. And then he literally off the top of his head gave one of the greatest presentations I've ever seen for the next like hour and a half. Just talking about his experiences and so on, all the stuff that he'd seen in his life that the young generation, there's a bunch of like 18, 19, 20-year-olds in there, all listening to this guy's wisdom. Anyway, then the speaker for Black History Month walks in, he grabs the mic and he says, all right, I'm sorry I'm late, but you know what the Bible says? Better late than never. And I was like, wait, what? There are verses that you can kind of interpret as that, but it's funny that he just says, as the Bible says, better late than never. Like that was an actual verse. Anyway,
That's fun.
funny
That's cool.
stuff. Miss those times, man. Miss prison. If I didn't have a family, I'd go back there. I would go back to prison because it's super, it's super fun, man. You get to wake up, they make all your food for you, then you go lift weights. And then you play football, or you play soccer, or softball, or basketball, or something like that. And you go to Bible study, and I don't know, pretty dope, simple life.
Bible study.
But here we are talking about the length of Muhammad's ding-a-ling.
PP.
How did we get here, man? One word, dawah. We got here from the dawah guys.
That's the funny thing. It is really something that we are now talking about, not because we are, not because we want to mock Islam, not because we want to talk in an irrelevant way, throw dirt at Islam or anything like that. We're talking about this because repeatedly the narrative from the Muslim apologists, from the Dawah crowds, is to justify child marriage and having sex with children.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Yes. And
like of all the hills you choose to die on, they're like,
yeah,
this banging little kids is the one we have to win this one or it's all lost.
And that is why certain discussions derail a little bit into getting into the details of talking about how absurd this is. So yeah, now we want to talk about that.
And here's what's interesting. Here's what's most interesting to me. They keep pushing the issue, right? And they seem, I mean, look at Sneeko. Sneeko wants every debate to be about child marriage now, right? He always wants a child marriage debate. And he's really like, oh, and I can really show why 18? Why that? Huh? Doesn't make any sense, right? But then he has the Muslim debaters, the Dawah guys, and they think they're really making a difference by continuing to press this point. Because when it happens, they think they have responses, right? They think they have good responses. And their good responses are, but what are you talking about? There are still places now where it's legal. And it's, but if you go back to earlier centuries, they didn't have an age of 18. They married at, they could marry at 14 and 15 and 16. So it's different back then. Or then they'll say, show me chapter and verse from the Bible where it says that 18 is the appropriate age of marriage and so on. And they don't realize none of these in the average person's mind is a good defense of your prophet having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. They don't get it, right? So they keep jumping into these debates and they think, ha, I showed that guy that 18 is not this official set in stone thing that everyone thinks. I have refuted this Western notion, and not realizing that throughout the debate, the Christian or the atheist or whoever it is was just blasting away at your prophet. And here it's even gotten to the point where Andrew Wilson left them with the new Islamic dilemma.
Andrew Wilson.
It's the new Islamic dilemma because so Andrew Wilson, in case everyone, we're gonna go and watch this, guys. But the new Islamic dilemma was put forward. He didn't call it this. I'm just saying, wow, he gave them a new Islamic dilemma. But you have Muslims following. Let's see. Hang on. GoDub here says, is it just me or does David's camera look weird? Yes, it did. I was messing with the settings earlier, and then I was late, so I just jumped in. Because, again, I was messing with the stuff earlier, and I don't remember what I did, and I didn't have time to figure it out because I was late, and we just had to jump into the show. So just live with it. One show. It'll be fixed later. Stop all the whining. Anyway, the new Islamic dilemma was you have some of the Muslim debaters following Muhammad hijab. They actually apply this harm principle from the hadith, general, don't harm. And they'll say, that's the rule we apply here. And so we say we have no problem having sex with a little girl unless it harms her. If it doesn't harm her, then we have no problem with it. That's what they've been rolling with. So Andrew Wilson, he gives them the new argument, the new Islamic dilemma. He says, okay, the canal of a prepubescent 9-year-old is about 2 inches long. Therefore, you have a choice, Muslims. Either Muhammad's penis was less than 2 inches, or if it's bigger or average size or anything, it would have damaged her. It would have harmed her. So take your pick. Either Muhammad's penis is less than 2 inches, or he harmed her, in which case he'd be violating your harm principle, and you need to stop pretending that this principle actually applies. So that's the new Islamic dilemma.
I think you should change the title of the stream to Muhammad had a tiny penis, and then you will get like hundreds and thousands of views.
Muhammad's micropenis. Okay, guys. So this debate went off the rails very quickly. They both basically gave their opening statement. They were just debating. They were just debating child marriage. They were just debating child marriage. They both gave a short, I think it was around 6 or 7 minute opening statement. And after that, they never got back on the subject because they started arguing. So we're going to go ahead and watch their opening statements, and then we'll fast forward we'll kind of fast forward to the end where there's a rage quit.
You know what this reminds me of when I see these Muslim apologists and debaters again and again coming to the topic of child marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There's this meme, I don't know if you've seen that, of some like very trashy looking, some guy standing at a urinal. And there are like a bunch of urinals, and then some other guy walks in, and stands right next to him, and then says
That happened to
something
me. I told you that
So
before, right?
yeah,
I was in the airport.
It happens to lots of people. That's why it's a meme.
It was when I was in college, and it was one of the trips we would go on for the speech and debate team. And I walk into the airport, and it was either 13 or 11. I actually counted at the time just to like crush this dude. But it was either 11 or 13 urinals and so on. I go in there, there's no one in there. I go to the urinal on the end. This dude then comes up, and of all the urinals, he goes to the one right beside me. And, most of the time you just ignore it or something like that. But I don't know. I was in a ticked off mood. As soon as he walks up to the urinal, I turn and I go, "What the hell are you doing? What the hell is wrong with you?" Like this. And he goes, but he was like startled, like he wasn't even paying attention, right? Like he was just like in a daze or something like this. He's like, "Oh, what? Oh yeah." And I go, go down there. Go down there. Go to the other end right now. He actually did. He went to the other end and stuff. And then I'm sitting there going, "Look at this. 13 urinals in a row. There's one that's right beside you. Go right to the one beside me." Anyway, I had to lecture the guy. Anyway, I'm assuming I gave that guy a life lesson that he never.
That's good. He'll probably never do that again. But I was saying, it reminds me of that urinal because I was thinking I should do that. I should use that meme where some guy comes up to the other guy and then says, "There's nothing wrong with child marriage," because that's basically. That's basically how they're acting.
Do it. You got to do it, man. That is classic AP. That'll be all over Twitter in a little while, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Take a couple super chats here at the beginning. The White Trash Panda says, "Stop whining about Winger and start the stream." Already did, White Trash Panda. Don't know what you're even complaining about. We've got Goat Trippers. Good name. Goat Trippers with the Z. Muhammad's wingaling isn't as big as the goat's horns. Muhammad's wingaling isn't as big as a baby goat's horns. If Muslims want to stick with this harm principle. RIP for hostages, prayers for their families. Yes, I've already seen everyone blaming the Jews, saying that Netanyahu killed them. We'll see what has happened. In his debate, and then I've heard the claims that they were just recently shot execution style in the head.
They were alive. The hostages whose bodies were recovered just now, 6 of them, one of them an American citizen, Herschel. They were alive for the longest time and were very recently, before their bodies were retrieved, executed by Hamas. Most possibly because Hamas has had this long policy of if hostages are trying to escape or about to be rescued, they would kill them. And in this instance, it seems like they lost control over them, so they decided to execute them. And the IDF just recovered their bodies.
Interesting. So the IDF has been rescuing these hostages, and you're saying the guys had it in their minds: don't let them rescue hostages. Keep the hostages. You want to use the hostages, but if it ever gets to where they're closing in and they're clearly going to be able to rescue the hostages, don't let them execute them.
Yeah, and it seems that was, for example, what happened when the IDF went in that one day and saved 3 hostages, including Noah from Noah Argamani from one of those buildings, and they went in with this brutal operation to extract them but chaos ensued because as soon as they realized that the IDF, that the special forces are in there trying to rescue the hostages, they started coming from all directions and shooting and firing because you can't let them escape. They are supposed to be used for for trade, for negotiation, but if they are escaping or to be rescued, then they are supposed to be killed. That's what Hamas does.
No, I mean, hostages. Hamas knows that Israeli hostages are a huge commodity for them because they know that Israel will do almost anything to get a hostage back. So yeah, they want to hang on to them, but yeah, they don't want them. They don't want the IDF to just take them back. So yeah, rough situation.
Because Israel actually cares about the lives of their
Yeah,
of their own population.
they don't want their people dying.
Hamas does not. Hamas is happy just provoking Israel, killing, spreading, doing bloodshed and having thousands of their own people die. They even admit to how that is actually totally part of their strategy. Israel is not like that. Israel values life, where these Islamists value death. So they know that.
AP, not sounding like a groiper today. Something's weird. In his debate review, Muslim Lantern repeats the Mary 12, Joseph 90 hoax, Rebecca 3, between 3 and 10 nonsense, and other awful polemics. Even cited the Catholic Encyclopedia. Oh my goodness, I didn't even watch that. I didn't even watch that stuff because they started arguing about whether they were going to talk about this stuff, and then I kind of didn't pay attention anymore because it was derailed. They weren't officially debating anymore. But yeah, and they don't get the point, and they never do. Muslim Lantern, you need to try to understand this. Even again, Dawah today is almost exclusively giving responses that are going to be persuasive to stupid followers of Dawah, clowns. They're not at all. They're Other people hear this and they're horrified, right? And so these guys think, well, if I go in there and they condemn my prophet for having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl, I'll say, what about Rebecca? She was 3. Ha ha. Not realizing you're not convincing anyone of that. You're not convincing one single person. Not one single Christian thinks you have a case for claiming that Rebecca was 3 or 9 or 10 or anything else. Not one single Christian that you're going to run into is going to say, oh, I think Mary was 12, even though we don't have a single reliable source saying that, and I guess child marriage is okay. No one's going to say that. So what happens at the end of the day is people are watching this going, this guy's like a disgusting, repulsive liar. He's lying about the Catholic Encyclopedia. He's lying about Rebecca. He's lying about Isaac. He's lying about Abraham. He's lying about Mary. He's lying about Joseph. Why are these guys such disgusting, repulsive liars? And in the meantime, the guy spends his entire time acknowledging that Muhammad had sex with a little girl. And then they're sitting there watching this going, wait, this stuff is all true? And then what happens? What happens, guys, after that? Then people are so horrified that when me and AP come along and start blasting away at this stuff, people who ordinarily wouldn't want to see us blasting away at Islam in an offensive manner. Suddenly they're like, oh yeah, make fun of him. This is disgusting stuff. So this is what's been going on for the past several years in Dawah. You got a bunch of clowns thumping their chests, trying to impress each other, giving stupid responses, lying, endlessly lying, and thinking that they're doing a good job because their fans cheer for them when they do that, not realizing you are completely destroying Islam globally. I mean, you are destroying it, and it is beautiful to watch. Beautiful to watch. And you help make our jobs easier because it was hard. It was hard showing people this stuff until you guys started admitting it and defending it. Hey, we got Rebecca here. Hello, money is good. Kippa.
Speaking of Rebecca, yeah.
Sander says, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And AP says to that, you're supposed to say amen.
Amen.
There you have it. You're a Christian now. The length of Muhammad's wingaling? Yes, we are talking about the length of Muhammad's cannoli. Steve McLovin says, love of Yahweh leads to power gap, flame of Ahura Mazda, pile of garbage, light of Allah. Bless y'all. I did not understand that. I'll have to process that later. Goat Hub says, only one way to figure out this mystery, resurrect Dia. We'll have to bring him back. Dia, tell us what you know. D Wood, do you feel called to prison ministry? Why or why not? I wouldn't mind it. It's always a little difficult because they want to vet you and stuff like this. And I'm always wondering if they start, like if you're an ex-con and they're going to let you in, they're going to want to do some vetting and so on. And so, like, are they going to be like looking me up and be, this guy makes fun of Islam all the time? Because that would be kind of a no-no for lots of prisons. That would be, this guy's going to go in there and cause division or something like that. So anyway, haven't really pursued that, but it might be something worth checking out. Child marriage isn't a hill to die on for Islam. It's a hole to bury themselves in. It's a double meaning there.
Yeah.
Ephesians 2, 8-9, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And AP says to that,
Amen.
Apostate of Allah says, my 16-year-old son walked in when AP said, maybe we should name the stream Muhammad has a tiny penis. What's wrong?
That's very unfortunate.
Islam has more issues than an AT&T service line. It certainly does. So many issues. And guys, you don't even know it. There's more than you realize. There are some that have not been popularized. We've been focusing on ones that we wanted to make popular. And now that we've managed to popularize them, now that they're becoming common knowledge, there's other things in there. So this is going to be fun times. Mike Wingjalinj, there is no dilemma. Muhammad didn't harm Aisha, and he had the genital measurement of 30 men. You kuffar cannot trick us into thinking 2 inches is small. That's true. 3-year-old Rebecca says, no matter what, Momo has SDE lol. What's SDE? Oh.
Small D energy.
Yeah, that's true. And you have to wonder, that could be connected to other issues, right? Like Muhammad said that no one could marry his wives after him. That's revealed in the Quran. Yeah. And that's when people were saying, hey, don't worry, if you get old and pass away, we'll take care of Aisha and so on. And then he got the revelation, no one can marry one of Muhammad's wives after him. And you have to wonder, is that like to avoid comparison?
Yeah, maybe he was like, wait a minute. If they do take care of my wives, then what if they find out about the size of my pee-pee? I can't let that happen. I can't let this happen.
And then all of a sudden Aisha's like, oh, that's what a normal size is like? Abdul? I thought everyone was 1.8 inches. Truly the West has fallen if men weren't taught urinal etiquette. For shame in Salah. Yes, that is bad. And that's why I had such a strong reaction. Romans 4:5, but to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. What does AP say to that?
Alhamdulillah.
It is pretty weird. We have all of these Bible verses interspersed with comments about the size of Muhammad's his cannoli. Micropenis is a real medical condition, poor guy. Yeah, poor Muhammad. What is this? Mumu, very strong, explains Islam. Yeah, it sure does. All right, guys, we ready to jump into this epic debate. Now, just let me give everyone a little background before the clip. So I start right before Andrew Wilson starts giving his opening. I forget 6 or 7 minutes or whatever. But right before this, they were discussing the rules. Muslim Lantern was requesting that Andrew not call Muhammad a pedophile and things like that. And then Andrew's saying, "What are you talking about?" And Andrew eventually agrees. He's like, "Okay, I mean, I'll try and tone it down, but I mean, if saying something is part of the case I'm making, I'm going to go ahead and say it." So, but there was this discussion, and you know what's weird? It's like they're concerned that the term pedophile has this negative connotation, but guys, what's the negative connotation to it? That you're thinking that you're attracted to a little girl, right? That's, in other words, it's not the word that's the problem. It's what the word means. And you guys are bragging that Muhammad had sex with a little girl. And then what is that? What is that? If a guy in his 50s is sexually attracted to a prepubescent 9-year-old, What? There's a word for that. It's pedophile. So instead of embracing the concept but rejecting the word, just embrace the word. In other words, start celebrating that your prophet was a pedophile. Yes, he was a pedophile. That's the most beautiful thing. Just stop that. In other words, change your view of the word. Why do you view it as a negative? You say, oh, because everyone else thinks it's so negative. Yeah, because we have a problem with guys banging little girls. That's the problem. But you're bragging about that, so quit objecting to the term.
And then you should make it your mission to change the people's perception about pedophilia. And you should say, yes, our Prophet Muhammad was a pedophile, and we're proud of that, because there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
And you should have debates on it. This should be the Islamic mission. This would be the right way to handle things, to tackle things. That's what you are supposed to do. Be proud of your prophet.
And that would kind of be a very small next step, right? I mean, if like they're becoming the global champions of having sex of grown men having sex with little girls, and they're all defending this stuff, like just it's one small extra step for Muslim kind to just say, oh yeah, he's a pedophile, and being a pedophile is great in our religion. It's the most best thing ever. So start doing that. Start doing that, guys. Wait, hang on. So you've got these last two super chats here. Droog says, Mo marries his cousin and Allah permits it. Then Islamic world becomes inbred, equals incest, increases birth defects, equals most obvious scientific mistake. Yes, it is a problem, especially when generation after generation after generation is all marrying cousins and so on. And then you look at the results and it's bad.
I think it's a little bit overblown, to be honest, because if you look at the results of cousin marriage, it's not really that bad. I mean, you can see, for example, Pakistan has a very high rate of child marriage, and they seem to.
And it's the best place in the world. Yeah, Pakistan. Yeah, Pakistan has massive rates of cousin marriage, and look how well things are turning out for them, guys. Look how well things are turning out there.
Seems like a totally healthy and normal civilization.
It's completely normal, just like child marriage, cousin marriage. Yeah, Islam is the motherlode of great ideas, as Sam Harris would not say. And here we have Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muhammad's pens between Ummah's heaps. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this again. Right before this, they were having a discussion on name calling and things like that, and then it starts, and it turns out Muslim Lantern had something much more to be much more worried about than the simple term pedophile, because Andrew came with his own argument.
All right, so I'm good. If you want to start your opening statement.
Okay, opening statement from Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, so I've tried to keep the opening statement somewhat concise. That way I'm not gish-galloping all over the place, and that way my opponent can take a single point at a time. I think that that's the fair way to do things.
Have you watched this, AP?
No.
You haven't seen this?
No.
Oh, this is going to be rough because this gets pretty funny pretty quickly.
I also have a visual demonstration here.
I have a visual demonstration. All right, here we go.
In regards to the idea of child brides and prepubescent sex of children, my opponent has stated, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not saying that these are his exact words. Sex with a child is okay in a marriage context as long as it doesn't physically or psychologically damage the child. Though he didn't use the specific word child, I'm inserting this word because I think that under the criteria he presented, it would qualify as a child. Though I don't think he owned the position, opting instead to make claims the semantics were incorrect, I'm ready to defend those semantics.
Little side note, guys. This is part of like a 5-hour live stream on Rumble. The link for anyone who wants to check out the full thing afterwards. So these guys debating is only a little part of it, and then Sneeko has other things and so on in there. But if you want to watch the full discussion, the link's in the description box.
I have a clip here for proof that this is indeed what my opponent has said on this topic, which I'm happy to send over as soon as the opening is done. To give you an overview of the absurdity of this position, Muslim Lantern and God Logic were attempting to argue the position of sex with 9-year-olds. In this case, it's because God Logic had brought up Aisha. I am confident that God Logic considers Muhammad to be pedophilic. I am confident that this is true. I'm not sure what age Muslim Lantern actually believes Aisha to be. However, most scholars I've read and classical sources place her at about 9 years old. It wouldn't really matter, though, if Muslim Lantern does or does not believe Aisha's age. He does not need to stand by the idea that he believes that. All I need is that he's on record saying that he believes the age of consent itself is just based around puberty, with no real clarification there as to what that means, and we'll dive into that.
Yeah, that's I don't know if Andrew is completely familiar with the Muslim sources, because it's basically Muslim Lantern's position. I think he's going to agree that she was 9. He's going to say that people could disagree, but I think he's going to say that he believes she was 9. I think he believes that she was pubescent. So he believes that when Muhammad married her at 6 and consummated at 9, Muslim Lantern seems, or at least he's claiming, he seems to think that Muhammad was waiting for her to go through puberty and so on. So some of that stuff doesn't actually come up. That's where I would have challenged him on, and I would have brought up the Quran and so on. But Andrew's going to go in a completely different direction. right about now.
But let us begin with some visual examples of what this has to mean. A prepubescent vaginal depth, which I'm going to represent here with this socket. It's about 2 inches, just so you understand. This is the average depth of the vagina in a prepubescent girl and girls in early puberty, which really doesn't stop until you reach the end of puberty, where it ends up being somewhere around 4.5 to 5.5 inches. I have the medical documentation to prove this.
So, Andrew, this is not something I've researched. We might need to examine his studies, saying the vaginal canal of a prepubescent 9-year-old girl is about 2 inches. It's about 2 inches. All right.
The average Arab's penis is about 5.5 inches. I'm going to represent that here. Again, we're just talking about averages. I'm going to put these side by side so that you can understand the distinction here. You see is 5.5 inches. You see this is 2 inches. Okay? To express what this looks like in comparison.
It sucks that the chat, not here, but on Sneako's thing, that's just it's rapidly going through, but people are dying. People are dying watching this. All right. So, guys, Andrew's doing the math here. 2 inches for a prepubescent girl's vaginal canal, 5.5 inches for an average Arab man's penis. Do the math there. Let's keep going.
It's very important that you visually understand this. In order for Muhammad, who I think definitionally would be a pedophile, to have done 0 damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim Lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually 1.8 damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
I like how he's totally deadpan the entire time. It's just matter of fact. Wait. Hang on. Let's go back. AP.
Oh, God. That was a very good delivery, honestly. That was a very good delivery there, man.
Hey, let's go back. I don't know if you can see Sneeko. What sucks is Sneeko's he's got himself really small, no pun intended, up there. But Sneeko's, but watch Sneeko's face when Andrew's discussing this stuff. Sneeko's done. Look at Sneeko. Look at Sneeko. Once he sees where he's going, look at Sneeko's face. This is Andrew talking about. Once Sneeko sees where he's going, look at Sneeko trying not to bust out laughing up there. All right. So I went back. But
again, we're just talking about averages.
Everyone focus on Sneeko.
I'm going to put these side by side so that you can understand the distinction here. You see is 5.5 inches. You see this is 2 inches. Okay? To express what this looks like in comparison, it's very important that you visually understand this.
Look at Sneeko.
In order for Muhammad who I think definitionally would be a pedophile to have done.
That's Sneeko covering his face to cover up his smile.
He's suppressing his laugh, and that's fine.
When this guy's talking about Muhammad having a sub 2-inch penis.
It's okay, Sneeko. It's okay. Just laugh, man. It's okay.
Yeah, and the idea here is, and this isn't Andrew just making something up. He's saying for me to take you guys seriously, that this would do no damage to a prepubescent girl. This wouldn't damage her. Then you have to say that Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. That's the only way around it. If you think he was average, then he would have done some serious damage to her. So take your pick. It's a new Islamic dilemma, everyone.
Zero damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually 1.8 damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
Oh, man.
Now, the reason for that is because we have the medical documentation of what is vaginal tearing and what vaginal tearing would be inside the wife. If he was anywhere even close to the average, this would cause severe damage. So we either have to conclude the damage threshold that ML is talking about here is much different than how ML presents it, or that Muhammad had a way smaller than average penis. I'm willing to accept either correction.
Take your pick, Muslim Lander. What sucks is, if I recall, Muslim Lander never answers this. But it's simple. Take your pick. If you're saying Muhammad did not damage Aisha when he had sex with her, what are you saying? The only way that works, the only way the math works, is if Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. If you're saying he was just even average, it would have done damage to a girl with a 2-inch vaginal canal. Would have done damage.
I have to be honest. Usually when I see this Andrew Wilson guy, I always think, what a jerk, man. But this is pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. He comes up with creative stuff. But I mean, people would call us a jerk. He is a jerk. People would think we're a jerk. We're jerks.
No, I think he's actually a bad person. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he may be. I don't know. I've only seen. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything of him apart from the Dillahunty debate where Dillahunty rage quit, or this one where Andrew Wilson rage quits. Well, you could say it's not rage quitting. They tried to agree on some rules and they couldn't agree, so he said he's not interested. But look at Sneeko there. Sneeko's still grinning here. All right.
Further demonstrate the truth of this claim, you can find more info on this in The Growth of the Birth Canal in Adolescent Girls. This is done by Marquisa Lavelle. She's a PhD. She goes further into why pregnancy at a young age is generally damaging to a woman, but it's also demonstrating the physiology in the difference of canals and the difference in penis length, the difference in vaginal length when it comes to people engaging with child brides. She goes into various problems of the pelvis during childbirth for prepubescent girls. And here, if you'll humor me, I'm going to give you some highlights. Again, trying to keep this somewhat brief. The size of the birth canal is smaller in the first 3 years, even past the first age of the period, than at age 18 years old. That's why we have a standard for this, by the way. People pretend it's arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. We have standards for a reason. If you even go...
Guys, did you catch that? Because that was actually an important response there. So he's talking about as far as the length of a woman's vaginal canal. He said that when it is finally grown to normal like adult size is around 18. And so he says, when we're talking about 18, so this would be in addition to all of the issues that someone like Inspiring Philosophy would bring up, the research he would bring up, that there's this is something else. This is something that is in addition to that. And so Sneeko is always pushing the issue Why 18? Why 18? And I'll agree. There's some wiggle room in terms of there's not like, oh, on this side of the line you're a girl, a young girl, and this side of the line an adult woman, because girls do develop at different rates and so on. It's when you're looking at the data on averages, things tend to be significantly better around the age of 18. So that's actually a response. That's actually a response to stuff that Sneeko points out pretty frequently. All right.
By region, this is true. Basically, all over the world, this is true, that prepubescent girls are still going through puberty, and so their canals are growing properly. At 18, only minor differences are observable in the size of the birth canal. This is important. At 18, only minor differences are between women. In any way substantial in the birth canal. Although girls with early periods are appreciably shorter and heavier, their late maturing counterparts at this age, there really is no distinct or huge variable difference. That's why waiting until that age is usually a good idea. She goes into the various problems of this. Now, to be clear, my job is to to attack this position. His job is to defend it, okay? I need you to understand that I'm not.
Quick response here to our Muslim friend Adam C., who brings up the astounding objection: 1 + 1 + 1 = question mark. Well, if you're just doing straightforward mathematics, Adam C., 1 + 1 + 1 would equal 3. As in if you're talking about the Trinity, one person plus one person plus one person equals 3 persons. So if you're just talking about math, 1 + 1 + 1 would equal 3. However, if you include units, then you could get different results. So for instance, 1 inch plus 1 inch plus 1 inch would be a penis 50% bigger than your prophets. Got it? Want to go down this road? Back to Andrew.
I'm going to go with any whataboutisms. So if you say, what about the Christians, though? It's irrelevant. That is for me to defend in the next portion of the debate on the Trinity. This is purely for him to defend the Islamic position on underage marriage. It is not to do whataboutism. It is not to say, what about the Christians, though? What about them over there, though? That's all logically fallacious argumentation designed specifically to obfuscate away from the points which are being made, which is the justification inside of the Islamic worldview for why it's okay to have sexual intercourse with girls as young as 7, 8, 9 years old, why that's okay, why that's moral from their paradigm. I do not have to defend a paradigm here. It's not important that I defend a paradigm here. It's only important he defends his. The paradigm I'm defending is the Trinity in the next debate. So he can ask whatever questions that he wants in regards to clarification on what it is that I'm asking him, but it is not at all pertinent in any way, shape, or form. Whatever he thinks the Christian belief on this is, that is not what I'm here to defend. He is here to defend the Islamic paradigm. With that, I'll yield my time.
All right, so Andrew, it's interesting. He didn't go any of the normal paths that people go. He came up with his own unique argument there. Pretty interesting addition to the already powerful arsenals we had against Muhammad's relationship with Aisha. There at the end, however, he's trying to avoid what in logic is called the tu quoque fallacy. But that's the "and you also" fallacy. So in other words, if you say to someone, "Hey, you just lied," they're like, "Oh, but you've lied too." Okay, that it's considered a fallacy because even if I've lied, that does not justify you lying. So defend why you lied, or explain why you lied, or change your mind about why you lied. Saying someone else is a liar or that someone else has lied does not fix what you just did. And so he says that he isn't interested in defending any particular perspective on here other than leaving them with this dilemma. If you say that not harming a girl is your rule, then you have to say that Muhammad had a sub 2-inch penis. Apart from that, if you don't want to say that your prophet had a sub 2-inch penis, you would have to say that he did damage her, and so he did harm her, and therefore he would violate your own principle. So take your pick. And so he's saying, hey, Muslim Lantern, answer this without just saying, oh, but you know, King so-and-so in 1370 married some girl and she was 11. Ha ha! You see? Because that would just be stupid. In other words, what actual good response do the Dawa guys have to the issue of child marriage? What do they say? Rebecca was 3. That's a lie. Mary was 12. That's a lie. And by the way, little side note, even if Rebecca were 3, she wasn't. But if she were 3, we would not say, therefore it's fine to have sex with a 3-year-old. We would not say that. We would say Isaac was screwed up. He shouldn't have done that. That's what we would say. That's what we would say. So there's no scenario where he makes his point and we go, oh, therefore it's okay to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. There's nothing. They have no argument that even if we agreed with everything they're saying, it would never get them to. Therefore, from our perspective, from a Christian perspective, there's nothing wrong with having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. There's no path there, which means that there's no actual way to respond, and therefore that it's all smoke and mirrors. There's all smoke and mirrors. There's no example that they're giving that could be used to defend their prophet from a Christian perspective, from anyone else's perspective. And so it's all just smoke screen. It's all smoke screen, smoke and mirrors. So Andrew wanted to avoid that. He said, I'm not here to defend any position. I don't want to defend a position like this. We are here to debate this. And he even said, in our debate on the Trinity, which was supposed to be after this, but they never got to it. He even said, in the Trinity debate, if we're talking about whether the Trinity is coherent, I'm not going to point to anything in Islam. I have to show that my view is coherent. I'm not going to point to anything in Islam. So that's his perspective. And Muslim Lantern's perspective is, no, I get to hold you. I get to demand consistency from you. I get to demand consistency. So if you're saying it's wrong, then you have to answer these things. That's his position. And both these guys are right in a way. If a topic is whether this is acceptable morally or whether this is coherent or something like that, then you kind of have to defend that. And pointing out if someone else is incoherent or something like that, that's not changing that. So he's right insofar as that is concerned. Muslim Lantern is correct that if the other person is applying completely inconsistent standards and so on, that could be something that you would want to point out. The real issue here is the Dawa guys do not show that anyone's being inconsistent on this point. The stuff that there's a reason they have to lie and say Rebecca was 3 and the Catholic Encyclopedia says Mary was 12. There's a reason they have to make all this stuff up. It's because they don't have anything they can actually point to and say, here's why you, as a Christian or an atheist or whatever, should agree that it's okay to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. They just have nothing. They have nothing. And so it's all smoke and mirrors. And so that's what we're left with. But let's go ahead and see what they're going here. Any thoughts, AP? Any thoughts, AP, before I go on?
No, it's just as you said, it's not very much in line with what you usually would expect from a debate on this topic. Focused on a very different aspect that I would not go into. I would say that the only good part about it, I would say, is that it addressed the size or the anatomy of Muhammad.
And by the way, that's kind of, here's the thing. I mean, I don't actually want to help these guys, but I'm confident that they're not going to listen to me. So I can just say it so that everyone understands, even though they won't. They'll keep doing the same stupid things over and over again because they're the worst tacticians on the planet. Look at Muslim Lantern. Look at Muslim Lantern right there. He thinks, I'm about to say, but in Christianity, whatever he's going to say, but you know Rebecca, but you know that Mary, but the Catholic Encyclopedia, I don't even remember what he's going to say. He's going to say some of that stuff, though. But he's going to say that kind of stuff. And I'm answering, not realizing no one's going to agree with you. No Christian is going to say, this Dawa guy says Rebecca was 3, therefore she's 3, right? No one's going to say that. And so what's the actual takeaway at the end of this? The takeaway at the end of this is that from now on and forever, Muslim Lantern, because you did this, Everyone's going to go around. Watch, mark my words. Everyone's going to be going around from now on saying Muhammad had a 1.8-inch penis. That's always going to be a thing right now. It's always going to be a thing. Whenever, from now on, watch, from now on, whenever someone raises the objection, but why did your prophet have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl? And you say, oh, but it's okay because it didn't harm her. What is everyone going to say after this? They're going to say, oh, so your prophet had a 1.8-inch penis then, eh? Or was it smaller? Or do you agree that he damaged her? Take your pick. Everyone's going to be saying that. So, Muslim Leonard, no one walked out of here agreeing with you who didn't already agree with you. But from now on and forever, this is going to be raised to make fun of your prophet. And you have no way of answering it. This is what you guys keep doing. You keep ticking people off. You keep ticking off the wrong people. They come up with new ways to make fun of your prophet. And then we have more ways of making fun of your prophet. And it's fun. And then you haven't gained any ground. You've just given other people more ways of making fun of your prophet. How, in the name of common sense, do you think that's a brilliant dawah strategy? I don't know, but keep up the good work, my friend. What are you laughing at?
The thing is, there's Muslim Lantern. I guess the only, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not familiar with the guy. I haven't watched a single thing from him. All I see from him is I saw clips, like seconds of clips occasionally, and I see that he has this whole calm and reasonable and friendly attitude, which turned out to be a little bit deceitful. I saw what he did after he debated Jay Dyer. He actually published a manipulated, edited video to make Jay Dyer look bad because the debate was so terrible on his behalf. But I don't know. It seems like the guy actually texted me or he emailed me a long time ago and asked me to have a debate with Sheikh Uthman. And I said, yeah, sure. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. Actually, Sheikh Uthman said he doesn't want to debate you. I was like, okay, are you joking, man? But I haven't seen anything good from him so far. Maybe I should ask him to have a discussion with me, a reasonable discussion.
Yeah, our good friend Adam C. here, who just keeps keeps whining about things over here. Now he's just saying Muhammad had 8 inches. Prove me wrong. Okay, that's the sort of offensive language that we're not going to tolerate here. So you just got blocked, Adam C. You just got blocked, Adam C., trying to divert this serious discussion into some stupid bragging about. Now think about this. If we took Adam C. seriously here, Muhammad had 8 inches, and okay, you penetrated a prepubescent 9-year-old girl with a 2-inch vaginal canal, and you're saying he used 8 inches against her. No. So anyway, it's possible, but then you'd have to say that Muhammad did massive damage to Aisha, like massive, horrible damage to Aisha. That's what you'd have to say. But we don't want to say that. I mean, if Muhammad was somehow able to have sex with her, we do not believe that he had 8 inches, unless you're talking about what he had from Diha al-Kalbi. All right, so now we're going to have Muslim Leonard. Let's take a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll jump into Muslim Leonard's brilliant opening statement. And we have the Muslim Lantern looks flabbergasted. Dude loves learning about penis peepees. He sure does. Like, why would you? Guys, again, this is the shocking part. They keep wanting to have this debate. Sneeko is obsessed with having this debate over and over again. Everywhere he goes, hey, would you debate Muhammad Hijab? Would you debate Alex Jones on child marriage? It's so important. They're all defending this, like it's the biggest, the most important issue ever. Andrew, your prophet has small pee-pee. That's basically. And guys, think it is an important dilemma. No, either your prophet had a very small pee-pee, or he did damage and violated your own principle that you guys claim to adhere to. So take your pick. At this point, I feel like Sneeko realized he was too impressionable and got caught up with the wrong crowd, and now he's trying to figure a way out. You have to wonder how long Sneeko's going to be able to hang on, though, with all this, because he's seeing it. Imagine worshiping another man so much while advocating crane hanging, have to visualize him having a thick pole to feel masculine and justified. Yeah, something like that. Andrew should have said, trying to keep it brief, just like Muhammad's pee-pee. That would have been funny. Buddy Rabbit, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1.8. Yep, that's Islamic math there. Buddy Rabbit, the dilemma I'm having is deciding which one I like more, Insalah or Inshallah. Inshallah. Oh, Inshallah. We can't keep doing this. Lol, I'm struggling, brothers. Pray for me. This is what Dawa. Is there nothing else we could be discussing right now? No, the Dawa guys have to keep putting us in this scenario over and over again, where they will say something completely ridiculous and disgusting and get into these discussions, and people will keep pointing out to us that we need to discuss it too, and we're fine with it. What is going on in this world? Grown men, assuming none of them is a virgin, know exactly what sex is, argue for sex with 6 and 9, 12 and 14, and Sneako's a debater, intellectual. I wouldn't consider him an intellectual.
But he's a big intellectual, man. He's an intellectual powerhouse.
Intellectual powerhouse. You heard it here, folks.
Genius.
Is Michael?
I compare him kind of. I would say that Sneeko is kind of the William Lane Craig of Islam, or the Richard Dawkins of Islam, or something like that.
Yeah, he is. He's an intellectual powerhouse. Is micro meat haram? Never mind. The issue is just too small to address. This is sad. 1.8 inches equals 4.572 centimeters. Do you see last two digits? 72. 72. Muhammad had the original Vienna sausage. He had the original little cannoli. So you're saying to start a number 2 on Twitter, and we will stop the number if jihadis stops killing people. I'm down. Yeah, so this is on them. This is another weapon in our arsenal of making fun of their. Again, Muslim Lander does not understand. I really made a powerful case for child marriage. No, you just gave everyone an opportunity to make fun of your prophet. Thank you. What are other arguments than no harm is there for Islam? As far as this issue, the only other response is really for people who don't believe in the Sunni hadith collections. Right? So if you're a Shia or something like this, or if you reject the hadiths about Aisha, then you don't have a lot to go on, and you don't know how old she was. You'd still be stuck with Surah 65, verse 4 of the Quran, but you can reinterpret that if you want. So as far as Sunnis, especially the Dawa guys, who acknowledge that Aisha was 6 when Muhammad married her, consummated the marriage at 9. They can't even say that you have to wait for puberty. So in order to say it's okay, they have to say, but we have this, we just have this thing saying, don't harm others, which there's no way to apply that universally, because they believe in violently subjugating the world and chopping people's heads off and crucifying people and all these things. And so you can't really take it as this blanket command. But in order to figure out what their prophet was doing, they say, this harm principle must have applied. And therefore, when he was waiting from the time she was 6 until the time she was 9, he must have been waiting for a time when she wouldn't be harmed by the sex. So that's what he was doing. And that's why Andrew had a pretty decent response to that.
It's just the evolution of this entire topic. We talked about this before, but it's just historically, since there is no limit, there is no lower limit to an age at which a girl is ready for marriage, Islamically seen. The discussions classically in Islamic morality and jurisprudence revolved around one thing, which was you can betroth a girl at any time, so you can arrange a marriage at any time. However, consummating the marriage, actually having intercourse with that girl, is only permissible if it is if the girl would not be permanently harmed, but the harm there would then only be about destroying the little girl and making her development, making her basically destroying her canals and ruining her and making it impossible to have sex with her in the future. It's not even out of concern of I don't know, harming her in different ways, psychologically harming her, whatever it is. The discussion was just about damaging her during sexual penetration. And if the parents or a religious authority or the husband can make sure or can come to the conclusion that she will not be permanently harmed because that would be damaged goods, then the husband can consummate the marriage. This is really how sick and how disgusting it was classically, and you can find this in Islamic books of jurisprudence. Nowadays, it seems to simply have evolved not very far from that. Just to, no harm. There should be no harm. No harm. Okay, no harm according to who? No harm according to what? No harm by what standard exactly? If we start discussing this, this is again a discussion that that doesn't really lead anywhere. That doesn't have proper foundations, proper evidence in Islamic sources. It is relative. It relies on on simply, instead of justifying your reasoning on what is and is not harm, it relies on attacking liberal ideas, attacking Andrew Wilson here, or attacking somebody else and saying, oh, why are you saying 18 should be the age? Why do you think 13 should be the limit? Why do you believe in Western standards of maturity, and so on? This is basically what they're going for, because the reality is that if you go to the Muslim sources, there is no lower limit at all. The Quran does not specify anything. The Hadith do not specify anything. And the Islamic scholars only say there should be no permanent harm, with an exception here. In fact, the ruling was generally the parents are in charge, and they can give their daughter in marriage to a man, no matter the age, at any age. However, as soon as the girl reaches the age of 9, the parents then have to let her go and have to allow the guy to have sex with her, because the age of 9 was the age at which Aisha was when Muhammad had sex with her. So until the age of 9, the parents can still say, we don't think she is ready, so we deny your right to have sex with her. We deny your right to consummate marriage with her. If she reaches the age of 9, then they have no say anymore. So these are some of the standards that you can find in Islamic rulings classically. This is what Islam is. This is how disgusting it is, which is why I think it's great that we talk about this again and again and again.
And quick comment here. Victoria says, I was 9 when I got my first period and was taller than most boys and had the body of a woman. I was not ready to procreate. You're right, because getting your period does not mean you're finished developing. And none of the Dawa guys seem to understand the first thing about puberty being a process that takes several years. Their mentality is old enough to bleed, old enough to breed. And keep in mind, those guys are actually better than Muhammad and the Quran, because Muhammad and the Quran do not care about puberty. It specifically says it. So yeah, this is some wild stuff, but yeah, I agree with AP. This is awesome. I mean, guys, if you wonder why the Dawa guys are becoming so obsessed with this, they understand the world, the public is finding out about Muhammad, and that it's going to be very difficult for them to portray Muhammad as a pattern of conduct if the entire world is horrified at what he did with a 9-year-old girl. So the old way was to deny this, but now everyone's familiar with the sources. And so the only thing they have left is to just defend it. But they understand that this is like, they have to go all in on this. If they cannot defend this, if they cannot convince people that having sex with a little girl is okay, if they cannot do that, then Muhammad always looks like a bad guy when they're making their case for dawah. So they believe that they absolutely, this is a must-win situation for them. That's why they keep engaging in these discussions and making videos on this and so on. And we love it, because we're not going to let them win this one. Yep. They keep throwing up lots of smoke. Guess what? We'll get through that, and they're going to be left with defending a child molester. Wild stuff. All right, couple super chats, and we'll check out our boy Muslim Lantern. I'm like you. I wasn't familiar with Muslim Lantern. I must have seen him at some point, but yeah, I'm not impressed. Taking a bath with the sun in this murky water. Be right back. Show some respect. Make it to even 2. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Quit being disrespectful with the 1.8. Just make it an even 2. Show some respect. That's a good idea. Tyler says, Hijab is debating William Lane Craig on the Trinity. Again, don't think, I mean, given that hijab focuses almost exclusively on rhetoric and so on, that is going to be, and Muslims come with not the standard objections that Craig would be familiar with. So, point is, Muhammad Hijab will pull some sort of stunt here. He's going to do it. He's going to pull some sort of stunt. He's going to pull some sort of tactic. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be fun to watch. Mini Momo explains so much of his personality. It's the piece of the puzzle we didn't know we were missing. It does explain a lot. Skyscraper Philosopher, did Andrew Wilson have legit reasons for quitting? We're going to get to that, but yes, they just couldn't agree on the rules for proceeding. He's saying if we're talking about Muhammad's relationship with Aisha, then don't bring up other stuff and tell me I have to defend this king or this or that. No, you show that it's actually okay. And the other side, no, that's because you're running because you don't want to talk about what? You're not going to want to talk about all these other things. Right. He doesn't want to talk about those things in a discussion about whether Muhammad's relationship with Aisha was morally acceptable. So they couldn't agree. And so he said, well, he's not interested in proceeding. Cam says, in our lifetime, 500 million will leave Islam. Hard it here to hear first. Thank God for these Dawa guys. These Dawa guys are helping us tremendously. Momo's penis was abrogated. That's true. It was abrogated. Have you guys seen the Muslim community now trying to put Aisha's age at 18 or 19 when she married Muhammad, ignoring their own hadith and of the age of... Oh, they've been doing that. That used to be the standard response.
Yeah, it's still going around. It's no longer public. It's no longer popular among the famous Dawa guys, but some people are still doing that. I recently heard on a Twitter Spaces that 8,000 people were watching or so at that time, where Tommy Robinson was. Somebody came in and started arguing that Aisha was it's actually proven that she was 18 years old, and all the claims that she was only 9 years old, they rely on debunked sources and so on. Some people still try to do this, but it is ridiculous. And then the same person, by the way, goes on and says, and did you know, by the way, that Prophet Muhammad's first wife, Khadija, she was 25 years older than him. And this is very funny. I made a video about this specifically a while ago, because you can't argue that it is unreliable, the information that Muhammad's wife Aisha was not 6 years old at marriage and 9 years old in consummation, and then continue and argue after that. So you can't dispute that and then argue that his first wife was actually 25 years older, because for that claim we have little
very
to
weak
no
sources
evidence at all. We have no Sahih,
tons
we
of
have no
sources on
authentic
Aisha.
traditions. Yeah, we have on Aisha. It is agreed,
And
it is
from
by
herself.
Islamic
And we have
standards
sources from
agreed.
herself,
Yeah.
from Aisha
They go
herself.
to herself. They are authenticated by Islamic standards. It is agreed that she was 6 years old at marriage and 9 years old at consummation. For the first wife, we have zero authentic sources. Zero.
Yeah, and so that's another kind of Islamic dilemma, and I'm fine with that one. I've done debates on this, and when I debate this, it's a rare situation where I don't care who wins. In other words, you occasionally get into a debate, very rare, where you can say, I'm totally fine with my opponent winning this one because of what it will prove. So, for instance, when I debated Robert Spencer and Jay Smith, different times, but when I debated them on the existence of Muhammad, my main argument was principle of embarrassment. If Muhammad wasn't a real person, there's no way people would have invented all this embarrassing stuff about him delivering revelations from Satan and so on. Like, why would you invent that sort of thing? So this principle of embarrassment, if you were inventing a new character for a new religion to get people to rally around, you wouldn't have included all this stuff that was very embarrassing to you and you had to respond to it. Like Muhammad's relationship with Zaynab, took the wife of his own adopted son. That was very embarrassing. There are like tons of responses trying to argue back and forth about this. Why would you invent that entire fake discussion? Because according to them, that was a fake discussion. It never happened. So you'd have to say why? Why are you sitting there? Hey, let's invent a guy, and let's say he delivered the satanic verses, and let's say he took the wife of his own adopted son, and then abolished adoption in order to justify it. You'd have to say a lot. And so I use principle of embarrassment as my main argument, knowing, okay, at the end of this debate, you either agree with me that we know that Muhammad existed, but only because of all this horrible information about him, or you agree with Robert and Jay that the sources are so unreliable and fabricated that we can't even know Muhammad existed. Guess what? I don't care who wins. I don't care, right? If you show that the Muslim sources are so incredibly unreliable that they can't be entrusted even with Muhammad's existence, hey, you go. You have to really trash the sources. I'm fine with that. And so when it comes to this debate, can you avoid the conclusion that Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl? Yes, we have over 200 sources saying that Aisha was 9 years old. If you want to reject that, you have to just blast away at Hadith methodology. You have to say Hadith methodology is extremely unreliable because you have lots of Sahih narrations talking about this. And so the only way for you to really show that we don't know how old Aisha was or that she may have been older, the only legitimate way is to say that the hadiths are just severely unreliable and can't be trusted. Guess what? I'm fine with that. If you win the debate on Muhammad's relationship with Aisha, using that method, just blasting away at the Muslim sources, I'm totally fine with you winning that debate. What I don't like is for an Orthodox Sunni Muslim who trusts the hadith to then lie about what's in the hadiths and to say that, he's done the math and concluded that she's 18 or 19. No, you didn't. Not taking those sources seriously. Like Kenny Bomer, he takes the sources seriously and claims that he's somehow discovered that she's older. No, you didn't. That's just completely deceptive. Throw out the sources and I will be totally on board. So I'd love to debate a Muslim on this who just like blasts away at the sources because I wouldn't care if I lose that one as long as he trashes the sources. It would be good.
It's
fun
always
stuff.
Sunni. Hey, did you see the video of this guy of Kamala Harris's running mate Tim Walz? He was asked right there right in front of him, a woman asks, what is your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza? He hears the question, listens to it, and then he says, all right, guys, thanks, and turns around and walks away. It's going viral.
Wow. That's sort of dirtbaggish. Like, I mean, at the very least, I don't know the details yet. I'll be looking into that, and I'll let you know later. So at least that, to just not even want to speak about it. Because, we all know what the situation is, right? They don't want to lose their, the Jewish Democrats, but they're being constantly harassed by the Free Palestine crowd right now.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to hold things together until the election. And it's going to be very hard to do.
They are really being handled and harassed by the massive progressivist cancer, so-called progressive, that has taken over the whole Democratic Party.
AP's starting to sound like a MAGA champion of the world here.
I didn't want to say it, but I feel like increasingly I just want to publicly say, I wouldn't normally want to and wouldn't normally agree, but I have to vote for Donald Trump in this election just to not give these Kamala Harris and their campaign at the Democratic Party and the cancer that they have become any chance, just to help with whatever I can do to vote for Trump, because I don't want to vote for those messed up people, and also tell others not to do it.
You saw it here, folks. AP officially endorses Donald Trump. D. Wood endorses no one. D. Wood does not vote, cannot vote. And what kind of world do we live in where some random Hitler speech watching Turkish guy gets to come here and steal my vote? Weird.
The government is stealing our votes. Meanwhile, Donald Trump made a whole post about grieving the hostages and their horrific treatment and Hamas as a terrorist organization and how things will change and so on. So Donald Trump does that, and Tim Walz is like, what do you think about the dead hostages? He's like, okay, guys, thanks. See you.
Yep.
This is the Democrats.
This is very
Why
interesting
would-
to watch. Well,
And seriously, I mean, there are lots of Jews. There are lots of Jews in America who will still vote for the Democrats as a result of years of just building kind of this whole support for the Democratic Party, which has been nothing but betraying them over the last year. And many of them will still go, despite seemingly caring about Jews, caring about Israel, and so on, still vote for the Democratic Party after everything we have seen over the last year. Why in the world would you stupid enough to do this? Seriously.
yeah, it's actually one of the easiest ways to manipulate massive numbers of people, because you got a manipulation tactic you can use with this person or that person. As far as massive manipulation, the easiest way to do that is to get a group to think that this is what our group does. People will put group identity even above their own self-interest. In other words, if you think, here's what my race or my religion or someone in my group does, that's the main deciding factor. When people are making a decision, the biggest factor is, what does someone in my group do? That's the biggest factor. And so if you can actually control people's idea of what someone in their group does, you can control millions and millions of people. Rough stuff. Shout out to Zane.
Speaking about secular Jews, by the way, that's where most of the Jewish Democratic voters would come out of. Religious Jews don't vote Democrats. That's
Shout out to Zane for gifting 5 Apologetics Roadshow memberships. We have here Muslims. The Muslims' answer is going to be, how can a man with a small penis always be covered in semen? That is going to be the response. And then, of course, we'll raise the objection. Well, maybe the semen isn't his, and it's actually D.L. Colby's. Ha ha! We're going to call this the Mose PP dilemma. We got the Islamic dilemma, and yeah, we have to change it from the Islamic dilemma because there's already the Islamic dilemma. We'll call it the Mose PP dilemma. Cliff says, not sure if Mrs. AP watches the streams, but I'm going to be attending my first divine liturgy, hopefully next week. Strongly considering converting because of her uplifting posts on X. Thanks, Mrs. AP.
That's very nice.
Why are you saying that's nice? Like, why are you pretending to smile about this? You're like, atheists and agnostics are dropping like flies. They're all converting because of my wife.
No, I feel very happy to read that, and happy about her, and happy for Cliff here. Very, very nice to read. Seriously.
Hey, that'll be Jake's next video. And I wonder what kind of drama's going on behind the scenes. How does AP feel about his wife convincing people to take the path of Christianity? What sort of arguments are going on behind the scene? We don't know. He's going to be doing that because his channel's now a
he's
drama.
pretending to be happy about it, but what is really happening? The fact that he's smiling about this immediately just shows that there's actually more behind it. And
Yeah.
why is he not telling us?
All the Dawa channels are turning into like drama channels now. It's hilarious. Muhammad, 50 Shades of Slaves. Yeah, sounds right. More dollars in this super chat than inches on Mo. Yeah, I mean, if there were $2 in a super chat, that would be more than Mo, according to Muslims. If they're saying he didn't do any damage, that's on them. Sneeko wearing glasses to look smart. Is it working? No, but we like him for laughing, right? I really appreciate him laughing when Andrew was bringing up his powerful argument. Allah, 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 Allah. Sounds familiar. Kissing the black stone. The new Islamic, they're saying call it something dilemma goes hard. Some of AP's fans with her coarse joking. They could argue that Mo only puts his member to that depth. Yeah, that's what you want. You want them to actually explain themselves, because that's what you'd have to argue. What I think would be a stronger argument is if you could compare the average girth versus average diameter, because you can't accommodate that. Oh, so he's saying instead of length, then talk about the girth.
Fantastic.
Lots of argument, lots of different ways to develop this argument. In case anyone missed, the Hadith reliability measure means nothing. The honeypot and Mary the Copt ideas for Surah Tahrim's opening are both sahih. In case anyone missed, the Hadith reliability measure means nothing. The honeypot and Mary the Copt ideas for Surah Tahrim's opening are both sahih. Are you talking about? Are you talking about? With the age of Aisha? If you trash the Hadith, that would be pretty. No, yeah. Keep in mind, we're not talking about sahih. There are people who believe that that sahih narrations can just be faked. In other words, they just believe that people fake them later on. That if you were 2 centuries after the time of Muhammad and you want to defend your idea, you just wrote a list of names on there. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to go that route, and say the Hadiths are just like unreliable garbage, please do. Please, Muslims, debate that. Defend Muhammad's relationship with Aisha by saying that we don't know how old she was because our sources are complete garbage. I'm fine with that. This just in, Islam's avalanche of apostasy is said to be due to Muhammad's constant micromanagement. Micromanagement. I pray to Allah for Mo, peace be upon him, penis be upon him. Oh, now it's going to be penis be upon him. All right, guys, let's get to the Muslim lantern and see his powerful case. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, Muslim lantern.
All right, perfect, amazing. I love the ending of his talk,
Liar.
because it shows that how hypocritical Christians are. He's trying to put a new condition that we didn't agree upon. You're not going to mention Christianity, and that is not going to happen. I'm going to mention Christianity to show how hypocritical.
Oh, no, Andrew,
Okay.
By the way, this is interesting considering beforehand he was saying, hey, don't use the name pedophile. Don't call Muhammad a pedophile. Could we agree that you're not going to call him pedophile? And Andrew's like, I didn't agree to that. And he's like, yeah, but you should agree to it now because I really want to, and if this debate's going to proceed. In other words, he insisted on a condition that they didn't agree on to previously. And now when Andrew's saying, hey, this is the way we should proceed, Muslim Lantern says no. Why? Because he can't actually defend it. He just wants to say, but all these smoke and mirrors.
We gave you 5 minutes uninterrupted.
Christianity for you guys. I didn't take a minute. And he's already interrupted.
But I think it's fair, Andrew. He did give you 5 minutes uninterrupted. It's completely fair for him to give his time in his opening statement.
All right, thank you for muting him because I didn't even speak.
That was him. He muted himself.
Ego destroys.
All right. So he muted himself. Okay, same thing. All right, great. Now I'm going to start again what I was saying. This is what we see.
It's funny because
same thing.
Andrew sits there smoking a cigarette the entire time. You see that?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to smoke just because it does look cool, but I don't want to.
I sometimes still want to get back to smoking, but I just remember.
Oh yeah, I remember you used to even when you'd be starting a live stream, you'd be puffing on a little vape thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's go! I'm going to be on a live stream for so long.
That's the funny thing. I used to smoke very, very heavy, then I switched to vaping.
Hey, true story, man. Hats off to you because that's a hard habit for people to break. So that's good.
It was really, really hard, but it somehow. And when I tried it in the past, when I tried to quit in the past, it didn't work. I couldn't make it happen. Something had to happen. Something triggered me to just think, what am I doing to myself, man? And then just throw away the vape device and never do it again.
It's weird because, I mean, I've heard from people who beat drugs and smoking that they say this is obviously not always the case, but I've heard people that say that smoking is actually harder. That smoking is actually because it becomes such a huge part of you. It's repeated and like everything is constantly reminding you to smoke. There are all these triggers for smoking and so on, and so they've said it's hard. It's actually one of the hardest things to give up. So hats off to you. I even forgot that you were smoking like crazy back in the day, like a freight train.
It's a miracle.
All right, back to Muslim Lantern and his powerful dawah.
Christians try, and because they're running away, they want to run away from the fact of all Christian history, church fathers, what they believed about the age of marriage, what the Bible says about the age of marriage. Instead of making this a Christian Islam versus Christianity, which was the whole topic of the argument, is trying to make it now. No, just speak about Islam. No, this is the Islam versus Christianity thing. People watching you are Christians. They have Christian positions. You might disagree, you might shake your head. That's irrelevant. I'm going to mention the point anyways for the benefit of the viewers to see the hypocritical nature of the people who accuse the Prophet of something that they themselves are doing. Now, you mentioned a few things which are, I don't really need to deal with. Very, very low blows, trying to, instigate some sort of a reaction with the measurements and stuff like that. Irrelevant, not going to deal with that. Aisha, according to the Muslim beliefs, were not prepubescent. According to the agreement of Muslims, that was not the case. So all of your argument about the prepubescent stuff doesn't work because that was not the case with Aisha radiallahu anha.
Whoa, did he just say Aisha wasn't prepubescent?
Did he just say that?
Yeah, I think he just said, hey, your argument doesn't work because you, I mean, so he doesn't actually respond to Andrew's actual argument. So far, all he's been saying is Christians try to run, blah, 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 blah. You won't defend your own history. No, he still doesn't realize, guys, there's a big difference between the Prophet, who is your pattern of conduct in Islam, having sex with a prepubescent girl, and your God allowing it specifically in the Quran, marriage to and sex with and divorce from prepubescent girls. There's a big difference between that and, oh, King so-and-so married Princess such, and she was 6 years old, even though, guess what? They never consummated the marriage because you weren't allowed to until she got older. The responses don't work. So Andrew wanted to avoid them, but it sounded like he just said that Aisha was not prepubescent. I did just pull up there. Days of Elijah said, my wife quit after our first child and never looked back. Yeah, that is one good thing my dad did. One good thing my dad did was I was little, so I was like a toddler. He still smoked. And he had a cigarette in his hand, and I ran into it right in my face. I ran into a cigarette and it burned my face. And then he actually stopped. He stopped smoking right then. So good thing. Good thing. That was a base thing to do. Let me back this up. Let's verify that he actually said this, because this is going to be exposed as a lie, Muslim Lantern. Now, before I was just thinking you're dumb. Now I'm thinking you're a liar.
I'm going to mention the point anyways for the benefit of the viewers to see the hypocritical nature of the people who accuse the Prophet of something that they themselves are doing. Now, you mentioned a few things which are...
We're hypocrites because we do it too. No, we don't. None of us is banging 9-year-olds. And if you do, we would have you arrested.
I don't really need to deal with very, very low blows, trying to, instigate some sort of a reaction with the measurements and stuff like that.
What?
Irrelevant, not going to deal with that. Aisha, according to the Muslim beliefs, were not prepubescent.
He just said it. Did you catch it? Aisha, according to Muslim belief, was not prepubescent.
That's a lie.
And
that is a lie.
But can I show that it's a lie? Can I do it? Can I show that it's a lie?
Prove it. You see, I can't prove it.
To that I say, Muslim Lantern, ask and ye shall receive. What?
No, we can't prove it. No.
Sahih al-Bukhari. Check out the chapter heading. This is 5153. Check out the chapter heading in Sahih al-Bukhari. Muslim Lantern. What is it? Giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. So we're talking about young children here. Why? By virtue of this statement of Allah. And for those who have no monthly courses, no monthly period, i.e. they are still immature. So this is talking about what? It's talking about girls who haven't started having a monthly menstrual cycle. Surah 65 verse 4. Same verse we use is what Imam Bukhari is using. And he says, and the iddah, here you go, Muslim Lantern. See if you can catch this. I hope I'm not moving too fast for you, Muslim Lantern. Because we don't want your lantern to go out. But here we go. And the iddah, you know what that is? Waiting period. The iddah for the girl before puberty is 3 months. The iddah is the waiting period after you divorce a girl after having sex with her, before she can marry another guy. And so the waiting period for a girl before puberty, after a man has married her and had sex with her, before she can move again, is 3 months. She has to wait 3 months, according to Surah 65, verse 4. Before puberty, before puberty, before puberty. You just, no, we don't believe that. And what example of marrying a prepubescent girl? Again, what's the chapter heading? Giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. In order to defend giving one's young children in marriage, Bukhari quotes the Quran to show that you can marry and have sex with a prepubescent girl. And this is all a lead into Sahih Bukhari 5133, narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. You got that? So, Muslim Lantern, what do you got there? A couple more real quick. Narrated Urwa, the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. Hey, check this one out. Muslim Lantern. Muslim Lantern. Narrated Aisha, I used to play with the dolls in the presence of the Prophet. And my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's messenger used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves. Smart. Need to hide your girls, need to hide themselves. They used to hide themselves. The Prophet's here. Hide. That sicko pervert. But the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. Hey, where are all those girls hiding? They hide when you come around, Prophet. No, bring them out. I want you to play with each other in front of me. And what do you have? What were they doing? Guys, what were they doing? They used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet. What does this say right here? We got the commentary. The playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden. You're not allowed to play with images in Islam. So why was Aisha allowed? But it was allowed for Aisha at that time as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty.
Puberty.
Isn't that interesting? Muslim lanterns, he's talking, Andrew Wilson's talking about her as if she's prepubescent. There's no, Muslims don't believe this. This is not what Islam teaches. We teach that Aisha had reached puberty. As she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. And of course, what do we have in Sahih al-Bukhari? And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, for them the iddah, prescribed period, if you have doubt about their periods, is 3 months. And what about wives who are too young? They have no monthly menstrual cycle. And for those who have no courses, i.e. they are still immature, their iddah, prescribed period, after they've been married and had sex and are divorced, how long do they have to wait? Is 3 months likewise, except in the case of death. This is talking about prepubescent girls. Prepubescent girls. So when our good friend Muslim Lantern says, no, we believe she's reached puberty, he can say that all he wants. His sources say something very, very different.
And who are we supposed to believe now? Muslim sources or Muslim Lantern? Of course, Muslim Lantern.
Yeah, Muslim Lantern or Muslim sources. Take your pick.
According to the agreement of Muslims, that was not the case. So all of your argument about the prepubescent stuff doesn't work because that was not.
Just say it, guys, because we just read some of the sources. We can read more. Just go back a little bit. Just want to verify. He was saying Muslims don't believe that stuff. Muslims don't believe that.
Of something that they themselves are doing. Now, you mentioned a few things which are, I don't really need to deal with. Very, very low blows, trying to, instigate some sort of a reaction with the measurements and stuff like that. Irrelevant, not going to deal with that. Aisha, according to the Muslim beliefs, were not prepubescent. According to the agreement of Muslims, that was not the case. So,
not according to the agreement of
agreement?
What agreement? What agreement?
What's the name of the agreement?
Yeah, you mean there are a bunch of Muslims who don't know what's in your sources who agree with who just agree with that and they assume it because they assume that their prophet's not a pedophile? Yeah, we understand there are lots of Muslims. You can't say here a bunch of Muslims who've never examined the sources, they think this, and a bunch of dawah guys who lie have convinced them that Aisha had reached puberty. If we're talking about your sources are pretty clear. One, the Quran allows sex with prepubescent girls, and two, Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent girl. So why would you have a problem with that? And why, more importantly, why would you already be lying, Muslim Lander?
All of your argument about the prepubescent stuff doesn't work because that was not the case with Aisha radiallahu anha. In fact, the Prophet waited after he made a contract with her until she reached that age in which she was then past puberty, essentially.
Where does it say that? Where does it say that, Muslim
Prove it.
Lantern? Yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah. You have the sources that said that Muhammad married her when she's 6 or 7, then consummated the marriage at 9. Where does he say, where do your sources say he was waiting for puberty? That's not. He wasn't waiting for puberty. If he was waiting for anything, it would be waiting to be able to penetrate her, given how small she was. And that's where the issue of like thighing and so on comes in. That you kind of, if you got a girl and you're not sure whether she's ready to handle a grown man's penis, then you kind of, get in bed with her and mess around with her a little bit to kind of try her out. That's what you're waiting for. You're waiting to where you're not going to completely rip her open and make the
Like
two holes one hole. That's what you're waiting for. Show us where he was waiting for puberty. Show us. Give us a source. Give us a source. Give us a source. Bukhari, Muslim, what? What's the source that says Muhammad was waiting until she reached puberty? Show us. You can't because you don't have one, because you're making it up, and that's what? Innovation! Muslim bid'ah. Muslim bid'ah. 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 Wait. Someone talking about Andrew's cigarette here, saying his cigarette is longer than 1.8 inches. All right.
Is what we believe as Muslims. So your argument is irrelevant again. I didn't even see an argument. All you did is just you said science says 1, 2, 3. This is what we have with Christians. They don't present anything from their own faith. They just with all due respect, speak, empty speech about, this is what happens when you have intercourse in this length and that length. Where's the argument? There is zero argument that was presented.
Where is the argument?
So all he said so far is, I get to attack Christianity. Andrew was running by not wanting to divert the discussion about Muhammad and Aisha to all these other smoke and mirrors tactics. What has he said? He said Aisha wasn't prepubescent. Total lie. And then he's saying, and that's all their arguments. And you have no basis.
Where is the argument? I don't see the argument. Where is the argument?
Pretty bad and pathetic here, but he thinks he's doing a great job.
So on the other hand, I'm going to present actual arguments now.
Really?
First, morality is objective in the belief of both Muslims and Christians. Morality sources from the Creator in the belief of both Muslims and Christians. So the reason this whole idea of the age of marriage, not age of consent, because Muslims don't have an idea of age of consent. That's a Western concept. We have the idea of age of marriage, and Christians have the idea of age of marriage.
Did you hear him? He said he has no concept of age of consent. That's important, guys. He says he has there's no concept in Islam about age of consent. It's verified that he said that.
In the belief of both Muslims and Christians. So the reason this whole idea of the age of marriage, not age of consent, because Muslims don't have an idea of age of consent. That's a Western concept. We have the idea of age of marriage, and Christians.
Age of consent is a Western concept, he just said.
Had the idea of age of marriage, but it seems like it's changing these days. So this argument is not even an argument against Islam in any way, shape, or form, and I'll highlight why. First, as I said, morality is objective and it sources from God. In order for you to claim something is morally incorrect, morally wrong, you need to prove your objective morality, i.e. Christianity in your case, and disprove that Islam doesn't have an objective morality, and then in which then we can talk, is that specific actual intercourse that happens, whether that be before or after puberty, whether it is right or wrong, where did you bring this objective moral claim? As a Christian, you should find that in the Bible. So I will wait for you to present me with your lovely evidences from the biblical tradition.
Please pause.
You love that?
So, is this really what Islam has come to nowadays? Is
Yep.
this really, this is what they're doing nowadays. So in the past, right, classically, historically seen, nobody argued, well, to criticize what we believe in and what we do, you have to first establish what your basis for morality is, considering that morality is objective and you don't have objective moral standards. This is not something that Muslims actually did. This is something that Muslim debaters started developing just over the last few decades, actually. And this has become just a popular thing now. For some reason, I guess because they are 1,000 years behind in terms of argumentation, discussion, philosophy, whatever it is, 1,000 years behind Christian apologists, for example, they somehow think, oh yeah, it is now our time to talk morality, talk ethics, talk philosophy, and then they sound like kindergarten philosophers. What in the world is this, man? This has no importance, this is not an argument. To you Muslims, to you Muslim thinkers, which I know some people might suggest is an oxymoron, this might sound like a very insightful, very brilliant thing to say. To everyone else who has a little bit of an understanding of ethics, who maybe took an introduction to ethics class or something, this is just so incredibly idiotic. It has no bearing at all. It does nothing at all. It does not defend your religious beliefs. It does not harm the other person's position. It does nothing at all for your cause. Arguing, oh, well, you cannot object to our beliefs. You cannot object to what our prophet did. You cannot object to what we believe about child marriage because, well, first off, morality is subjective, objective. Explain yourself. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, we're discussing here in this example, especially since Andrew Wilson directly addressed it, we are discussing the impact of having sex with a little girl on a little girl, and the impact that results from having sexual intercourse with a little girl. We're discussing that. You can now spend thousands of hours or days or weeks discussing about, oh, okay, but what do you base this on? What morality do you base this on? Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. We're getting nowhere, or at least we are getting somewhere. You are getting nowhere in this discussion about the impacts of what the actual thought and act of having a marriage with a little child and having sex with her actually does. What we base our morality on has no relevance to the issue at all. If I see and find out, for example, in my presence, that you marry a little girl and have sex with her, I would wish that I could just take matters into my own hands and end your life there. However, the best thing would probably to alert the authorities because there is somebody getting hurt. And when we report that somebody is getting hurt and we can objectively prove that somebody is getting hurt, we will not waste our time with a stupid discussion about how and why we conclude that hurting this little girl is morally right or wrong. Similarly, if you break into my house and try to rob me and attack my family and kill my wife,
Prove
and
objectively that I can't rob you and kill your children.
And if I wake up in the middle of the night and I find you in my house harming my family, we will not get into a discussion of whether it is legal or not. And, can you prove that? I mean, what do you base your morality on? Can you explain whether it is actually harmful or bad or not according to your moral standards that I just broke into your house? No, I will shoot you.
That would be pretty rude and Islamophobic, AB. But yeah, I mean, guys, think about what he just did. So Andrew lays out, it's a pretty simple argument. And matter of fact, it's extremely simple. It's you guys say there's this harm principle. You're not going to harm the girl. I've done the math and the research, and either your prophet had a 1.8 inch or smaller penis, or he did damage her. Tell me what you believe. I'm fine with either option. Take your pick. Right? Take your pick. And his response so far, Muslim Leonard's response is, haha, but she wasn't prepubescent. Muslims agree on that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your sources definitely don't. And Allah in the Quran doesn't. Your hadith collectors didn't. And Muhammad didn't. No one agrees. Aisha didn't. No one agrees. No one agrees with you. Except you have lots of Muslims who don't know any better today. That part is true. But that doesn't show that Muhammad didn't have sex with a prepubescent girl. That shows there are still lots of Muslims who don't know that Aisha was prepubescent. So Muslim Lantern said that, and yes, then he instantly goes into a discussion of meta ethics. That's like foundations of ethics. But guys, keep in mind what he just did. You can't. What moral foundation? What objective moral foundation can you show that it's wrong to have sex with a prepubescent girl? Or a young pubescent girl, and since he is claiming that she was pubescent, prove to me. Just imagine this being used in real life, as AP was talking about. Someone's robbing you or something like this, and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna stop you from robbing me. Can you prove that it's wrong to rob you? Can you prove this?" Right? I mean, imagine like the grooming gangs in the UK. Imagine the grooming gangs. And imagine you catch the grooming gangs, one of these grooming gangs, gang raping your 12-year-old daughter. And you say, "Guys, stop this. I'm going to call the cops." And they say, "What? Prove objectively that it's wrong for us to gangbang your little girl. Our religion says it's fine for us to treat your daughter as the garbage that she is and to take her as our sex captive. Our religion says it's fine. What objective basis do you have for saying that it's wrong?" So one, it's a stupid direction to go. But two, I mean, he's saying you have to have some objective foundation. No, you don't. You can say something. You can say something is wrong because it's obviously wrong, or because people in general understand that it's wrong or dangerous or something like that. If you wanted he's demanding an actual foundation for sex with prepubescent girls to be wrong in the Bible. He's saying that's the only way you could know something. Notice, guys, he's presupposing an Islamic understanding of morality where you can't possibly know that something is right or wrong unless you have a command from God revealed in Scripture. That is the Islamic view. That's the Islamic view. That is not the Christian view. The Christian view is that God can write the law on people's hearts, right? God can reveal things through people's consciences and so on. But even if you wanted to go, there are people who make arguments based on, well, God created Adam and Eve, and he made Eve a grown woman and not a prepubescent little girl. People point out there's a passage in Ezekiel where it talks about the age of love, and it describes a fully grown woman. That's the age when it's appropriate for her to be, for love, for getting married and having a relationship and so on. But there's a much easier way. Jesus said, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." This is an easy way to figure out right and wrong in various situations. Should I go steal this guy's stuff? You don't actually need a command saying don't steal. If you have absorbed the principle, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do I want this guy stealing from me? No, I don't. Okay, then don't steal from him. Don't steal from him. It's an easy way to figure out basic moral ideas. Okay, if I were a prepubescent 9-year-old girl with a 2-inch vaginal canal, would I want some guy having sex with me? Would I want some creepy old 54-year-old pervert spreading my legs, climbing between my legs, and raping me? Absolutely not. Okay, therefore, according to the Bible, you don't do it. Don't do it. You wouldn't want someone doing it to you if you were in that situation, so don't do it to someone else. Pretty simple and straightforward there, Muslim Lantern.
Or you could say, as a grown person, as a grown woman, would I want some 50-year-old guy to have had sex with me when I was very, very little, when I was prepubescent or when I was a little child? Would I want that would have happened to me, given the very clear consequences?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. So if you were a woman or a girl, would you want someone having sex with you when you're 9 years old, or would you want them to wait until it's much less dangerous and much healthier for you? Which would you want? All right, go and do the same thing then. All right. Here we have our Muslim
It's-
friend. Oh, go ahead.
Sam Shamoon did a very nice thing when he had this debate with the two pedos, Darren Kikichu and Jake, Muslim metaphysician. He did this whole thing as well. He directly cited to them, even he even cited the Talmud, right? He cited the Talmud and cited early sources and Christian attitudes, and basically demonstrated to them that even that even long before Islam came into existence, even long before Muhammad came along, Jewish tradition already established that it was wrong to have to give your daughter off at a young age to somebody else and let them have sex with her. So the Talmud, he also pointed out, which would be people, right, scholars coming together and discussing and establishing facts, were better, morally speaking, than Allah himself and his perfect prophet were. So there is already precedents. There are already standards that were established long before Islam came into existence. It is Islam that comes along and doesn't learn anything, doesn't adopt anything, but just imposes a morality that is wicked and that is susceptible to being, or that is unable to be properly developed. Or you can't really develop it. You can't really put education into it and change it and then justify it, because it sticks to the sickness that a 7th century Arab guy brought, and you are not supposed to change any of it. That's it.
Yeah. This is wild, wild stuff. And here we have, guys, notice every response to any of this, it always has to involve deception.
Mm-hmm.
What's the response that doesn't involve deception? You just had Muslim Lantern. Everything is smoke and mirrors. And then, oh, but we all know that Aisha had reached puberty, and that's what Muhammad is waiting for. Bull. Show me the source. Source. Let's see it. And then we have here our good Muslim friend Bedis Aude. He says, in 65:4, God is talking about Idda, which is the period that a woman should wait before marrying again so that we can be sure she is not with child. How does this show that the Quran permits marrying children? Bedis, follow the reasoning here. So it had already been revealed in the Quran. This is the reasoning. It had already been revealed in the Quran that if you divorce your wife, she has to wait 3 monthly menstrual cycles before she can marry another guy. So it had revealed that. Then the question arose for Muhammad, what about women and girls who don't have a monthly menstrual cycle, either because they're too old, so they've gone through menopause, or they're too young, they're prepubescent, or they're pregnant. So there's three types of wives who do not have a monthly menstrual cycle. And for the first two, women who are too old to have a monthly menstrual cycle or girls who are too young to have a monthly menstrual cycle, he said, wait 3 months instead of 3 monthly menstrual cycles. It's taken for granted that the girl does not have a monthly menstrual cycle. So do the math here, Bedis. If a girl does not have a monthly menstrual cycle, and the Quran says there is no idda if you have not had sex, that means that if there's a waiting period, you've had sex, then the Quran is talking about having sex with, so marrying, having sex with, and divorcing, and passing someone on to the next guy to marry her, all before a girl has a monthly menstrual cycle. What is this talking about? This is talking about marrying, having sex with, and divorcing, and passing on prepubescent girls. That's not in dispute. You can go to Ibn Kathir, and I'll pull them up if you want. We could go through Tafsir of Ibn Kathir. We can go to Jalalain. We can go to Ibn Abbas. We can go to Wahidi's Asbab al-Nuzul, the situation of revelation. You can go to Tabari. You can go anywhere. Everyone agrees to this. Everyone agrees to this. Why would you deny it? Why? Except for that you're ashamed. But if you expect us to say, oh, Bedis Audi says that it doesn't mean what 14 centuries of Muslim scholars all agreed that it says, and what Muhammad's own companions agreed that it meant. Better luck next time, sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see where Muslim Lantern is going with this. Get rid of the trash there.
Morally acceptable age for intercourse. And if you cannot do that, then you're just saying your own personal subjective moral opinion. And we don't really care about that, just like anyone else's subjective moral opinion. That's number one, why this is not an argument against Islam, because you've not proved your objective morality. Number two, a Muslim can believe. Now we talked about me and my belief, which I can highlight in a second, talk about the things that I believe in my position. But that's not what we're discussing now, but I'll present it anyways, it doesn't matter. A Muslim can believe, I'm talking a Muslim, I'm not talking about myself now. A Muslim can believe the age of Aisha was different than what we say, contract
Please,
6 and
say one more.
A Muslim can believe a different number. Why a Muslim can believe a different number and can still be a Muslim? Because this is not an article of faith issue. We have 6 articles of faith as Muslims. Number 7 is not the age of Aisha. We don't have that. So, an information about a prophet of an information about the wife of the Prophet ﷺ is not essential to the belief and the creed of a Muslim.
I want to be
So.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to be clear here because I mean Muslim Lantern finally said something that I would agree with, that believing that Muhammad had sex with Aisha when she was 9 is not actually required as a fundamental principle of the religion, and therefore you could reject it, you could reject the sources and so on. That's all true. What in the name of common sense does that have to do with whether it was okay for Muhammad to have sex with a prepubescent girl, or in this case, he's saying a pubescent 9-year-old and so on. He's saying what's he? So we have all these sources, again, over 200, saying that Muhammad had sex with Aisha when she was 9 years old. Andrew makes an argument about why that's wrong, and he's saying, hey, so he did harm her, unless you want to say that he had a sub 2-inch penis. Do you guys want to go that route? And then the response is, but it's not a requirement of. It's not a requirement of Islam to believe that Muhammad actually did that. Right. You could say that a ton of things in the hadith are made up about Muhammad. You don't believe that those things are made up. You believe that those things are true. So what's the point? Like almost anything, if it's not also in the Quran, if it's in the hadith, tons of stuff you could say, I don't believe those hadiths. I think those hadiths were fabricated. I think all these hadiths are fabricated. Can you say that? Of course you can. What in the name of common sense does that have to do with the fact that you believe and that your sources declare Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and whether it's okay? What does that have to do with whether you are required to believe something as a Muslim? I do not know. Nothing. So I agree with what he said. It just has nothing to do with the debate.
If he wanted to say, okay, this specific report, I believe it otherwise, he's not going to be a non-Muslim. Therefore, it's not an argument against Islam. You're arguing against something.
Whoa, he just said.
Sounds like a complete idiot.
Did you see what he just said? That was super dumb. He said, if it's not arguing against one of the 6 articles of faith of Islam, it's not an argument against Islam.
This is so incredibly stupid. This reminds me of one thing that Muslims do sometimes, which is when you bring up a moral issue with Islam, they say, okay, so how does this prove that Islam is false? We're not talking about whether Islam is false. Okay, We're talking
about whether this was good, whether this was a good thing to do.
A moral issue with Islam. This even happened. I once brought up something about how terrible Islam is on Twitter, and then I got a response from one of those geniuses from those 4 Muslims who have this thought adventure podcast. Very smart people. Abdul, he responded and said, so therefore Islam is false. This is for some reason how they think. That any objection we make to Islam and how horrible it is, apparently, if it does not prove that Islam is false, can be dismissed. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And it's stupid. I've encountered that too. When I'll give a presentation on jihad, or I'll make a video on jihad, and I'll get the response, David says that Islam is false because there's violence in Islam, but there's violence in the Bible too. So that, No, I never said that. I've never said that Islam is false because there's jihad. I make videos about jihad because Muslims keep making the claim that all these terrorist attacks have nothing to do with Islam. And so I show you what the Muslim sources say. If you want me to argue that Muhammad's a false prophet, happy to do that and give you all kinds of reasons. But this is actually connected. This issue is connected. If the Quran says it's okay to have sex with a prepubescent girl, and if Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent girl, and the Quran says that Muhammad is a beautiful pattern of conduct for people to follow, then if it turns out that sex with little girls is wrong, then you have multiple problems there. You have multiple problems. And I have to say, Muslim Lantern, when we decide whether to believe that Islam is true, the real question is whether we believe that Muhammad's a prophet. The real question when we decide whether Islam is true is whether we believe that Muhammad is a prophet. And so if you have this guy who's going around and he has sex with a prepubescent little girl and he justifies these kinds of things while saying, oh, and God revealed to me that I'm the pattern of conduct for people, yay, and he looks like a horrible pattern of conduct, I will agree that that problem could, in theory, be outweighed by other evidence. I just don't see any other evidence that would outweigh it in Islam. I see no evidence that your guy's a prophet. So in other words, Muslim Lantern, what you'd say is, okay, Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent girl, or as you seem to pretend that she was pubescent, and it's wrong to, so if Andrew wins and we conclude that it's wrong, it's morally wrong to have sex with a prepubescent girl, that's kind of like, it weighs against Muhammad because he set himself up as this wonderful pattern of conduct. So in other words, if you're thinking of scales here, we know you guys love the scales, it's evidence against him. And his relationship with Zainab, that would be more evidence against him. And the situation with Mary the Copt and him taking an oath and then breaking his own oath, that's evidence against him. And all these other issues, and all of a sudden we have all this evidence. It's like dropping to the floor from all our reasons to reject this guy as an obvious false prophet. And we say, okay, what's on the other side of the scale that's going to counterbalance all of this? And all we've gotten over the years are a bunch of lies. Oh, you perfect preservation of the Quran. Lie. Scientific miracles. Lie. And so all you have on the other side of the scale are lies. So don't act like this doesn't relate to whether Islam is true or not. It's more evidence against Muhammad. And shame on you for lying about it.
Now David Wood is saying Islam is false because Muhammad had sex with a child.
Saying it's evidence against Islam.
You see, David says it is proof that Islam is false.
See? A couple super chats here. Cliff says, so the Cliff is the one who was saying that he's watching Mrs. Apostate's tweets and so on. He says, just to clarify, I'm a Protestant Christian. Ooh. So he's saying he likes her tweets so much he's going Orthodox from Protestant, and therefore AP is in the clear, and AP doesn't have to be enraged thinking that some atheist or agnostic is going Orthodox.
In your face, David. No, David is acting like he has no problem with this at all. And then he's going to, as soon as we go offline, he will start.
I declare war on Mrs. Apostate. I want every Protestant to rally.
Protestants, rise up.
Heisenberger says, actually, there is one way around this dilemma. Aisha is supernaturally mature for a child, like when those who claim Rebecca is an adult in Genesis. Well, you'd have to say that would be the route you go. You'd have to say, okay, well, if Rebecca was 3 and she could carry hundreds of gallons of water with no problem, then obviously Aisha could be supernaturally matured too. Yeah, they could go that route. Muslim Lantern X. He is Muslim latrine. Muslim latrine instead of Muslim Lantern. Very rude and Islamophobic. Islam, how? Why? Islam, how? Why? I don't understand. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty big.
What if David made a video going through his library? That would be cool. Favorite novelist, by the way? Question to both. Who's your favorite novelist, AP?
Novelist? I don't know. The last time I read a novel was 15 years ago or so. But I liked Russian.
No, it was
novelist.
just, dude. I was literally 2 seconds away from saying I like the Russians, Tolstoy
Yeah,
and Dostoevsky. That's who I liked. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
I like the Russians better than. I mean, I liked other. I mean, I liked books by Hemingway and stuff like that, but I just liked the Russians more. Short stories, interestingly enough, I like Kurt Vonnegut, but I've never actually read any of his novels, like Fahrenheit 4. No, not Fahrenheit 451. The planet one. Oh my goodness, I don't even remember. Yeah, but I love what guys. What's the Slaughterhouse 5? Slaughterhouse 5. Okay. Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 is Ray Bradbury. But yeah, I love Vonnegut's short stories, novels. I like Russian writers.
Russian stuff is pretty based, very depressing, but it's also very deep and very Crime and Punishment, best thing I've ever read in my life.
Yep. Actually messed me up,
Yeah,
dude. So
best thing.
so I read.
Yeah,
Hey, I read Crime and Punishment. I read Crime and Punishment. Like in my testimony video, when I explain how I became a Christian, I talk about running from the police, and I got into, I got to where I was beside a garden, and I was about to walk around the garden, and I walked through the garden. Anyway, I escaped from the police that night. They caught me the next day. Because they had someone who knew what I did, and they told him I died in the river because they thought I died in the river because I jumped in the river, swam, and they never caught me. So they thought I was dead. So they were asking someone to identify me so they would know who to inform that I had died. And then, so police show up at my door the next day. They were surprised that I was actually there. But anyway, so I got in trouble, of course, and I read Crime and Punishment. That was assigned summer reading for AP English. So I read Crime and Punishment, and then I read Crime and Punishment and read about his version of the Superman theory. And I actually thought this was the universe communicating a message to me that this is actually for me, because I just concluded running from the cops that I was somehow on a different moral level from anyone, and I didn't have to follow anyone else's rules, and I could walk through the stupid garden. And then
the
I
whole
read
point of the novel is the opposite.
exactly. It's the opposite. It's the exact opposite, right? But I thought it was speaking to me because, guys, keep in mind I was delusional back then. I thought it was speaking to me, saying, "Yes, Raskolnikov, it was wrong. It's not him, but the theory is right, and it's you." And that this is. Keep in mind, this made no sense at all. I was a total atheist, complete materialist. It made no sense for the universe to be communicating a message to me through Dostoevsky. Made zero sense whatsoever. That's why it's crazy. It's crazy. It makes no sense given other things you believe. You just have this realization. Anyway, later on, I was in the mental hospital. I'm in the mental hospital, and I'm sitting there, and this psychiatrist comes in, and he sits down beside me. I'm laying in my bed. He comes and sits down beside me, and he goes, "David, have you ever thought that a song or a poem or story or something like that was speaking directly to you and that it was made for you?" And I'm sitting there, and I was like, how the heck does this guy know? Right? How does he know? How does he know this stuff? Because that had happened a long time. And back then, I thought that psychiatrists were trained to spot lies. Like they're trained. I don't believe this anymore. Back then, I thought that psychiatrists were taught to spot lies, and so if you lie, they're gonna pick up on it. They're gonna pick up on a tell. So when they're asking me questions, I would try to give them true answers without giving them the anything remotely resembling the full story. So he asked that. Have you ever thought that something specifically talking to you? And I'm thinking, yeah, lots of times. All kind of, this happens over and over and over again. I just don't know how you know that about me. So they had picked up on something earlier during discussions and so on that led them to think that I had a problem. But anyway, so he says that. So anyway, since I thought that they were trained to pick up on lies, I would always, when they asked me these questions, I would try to give them something that's true without giving them the full story. So when he said that, I said, yeah, actually years ago, there was a song, and it wasn't a great song, but it was called May the Road Rise With You. And I thought this was actually telling me to do something. which was true. That happened. So I tried to give him that example without telling him the entire story. But anyway, I was like, so anyway, Crime and Punishment messed me up because, guys, what it actually did was I'd just gone through this, concluded that I am this beyond morality type person. And then right after that, I'm reading a book where that's the theory. It's like, what are the odds here? What are the odds here, right? This is for me. Boom. This is the universe speaking to me, telling me what I'm supposed to do. That actually played a role in everything that happened after that. So thanks, Dostoevsky, for screwing up my life.
That's pretty beast.
Powerful stuff. So we like Russians.
Latin
I mean books.
Russian.
I mean books, not people. Russian people are terrible. The next Zucker Nike says, I got married recently. Pray that everything goes well. It won't. By the way, before I forget, David Wood equals nerd. And things like that are why your marriage is not going to go well. You're mean to people, and people are going to be mean to you in response. And then you're just going to have a bad life.
Based.
No, congratulations, next Zucker Nike. Tell me where to send you a gift, and I will send you one.
No congratulations from me.
Dawa voice. No, Muhammad was impressive. He just had erectile dysfunction and therefore couldn't hurt Aisha. He had the strength of 0 men. Yeah, the 30 men is actually a mistranslation. It's actually 0. Muhammad had the sexual strength of 0 men.
That's what they should be resorting to. That would be fun.
PBUH, perversion bestowed upon him. Yeah, it certainly is. No way Mini Momo was satisfying Diya Kalbi with that. Clears the mystery of who was pitching and who was catching in that ball game. That does. We might want to put this all together. We might want to put this all together and say, okay, so Muhammad has semen all over his back. Muhammad's hiding behind the curtains with Diya Kalbi. What's going on there? Well, we know who's on the giving end and who's on the receiving end.
That's big speculation there, man.
We have evidence. We have it's not airtight. It's not an airtight case, but it's circumstantial evidence. Males and goats.
We all know. Okay, we know that Muhammad was gay, but I think it would be a little bit much to further speculate on, whether he was on which end he was on. I would say
we have evidence. If Muslims want to say, no way, this wouldn't work because, Muhammad wouldn't have harmed her. Okay, great. Then you're stuck with 1.8 inches or less. And therefore, wouldn't have been able to keep Diya happy. And therefore, Diya was the one keeping Muhammad happy.
I'll think about this.
Let's see. Oops. Males and goats aren't off limits. Why would kids be? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question.
That's true. That's a good question.
Please do the video reaction of the video called Scariest Hell Testimony Ever. David Wood. It has a green background. A green background. Why would that make it better for me? They recorded it in a green background?
You should do it. It has a green background.
Okay. We'll check it out. I'm minor attracted person, so I agree. So I avoid being alone with minors in private. That's what you would want to do. If you're attracted to minors, yes. Stay away from minors. Good principle. Is the reason why some white supremacists say Stalin is a Jew because the Soviet Union warred with Germany? If so, they are beyond delusional. AP, what are your thoughts? And not the 15-minute version where you talk about all of Hitler's speeches for 10 minutes of it.
You can get into any discussion with people who have paranoia about Jews. They will end up in any case somehow arguing that any side that is in any way bad to them is Jews. So it's not really a big surprise. When it comes to Stalin, there are different ideas. It's because of the war with Germany. It's because of the Soviet invasion of Nazi Germany, because of the Soviet discovery of the first concentration camps. There are different reasons, and because of this whole idea. Not just that, also because of this whole idea that communism is Jewish. This is, by the way, something that even before the war, Hitler himself engaged in. He repeatedly asserted that that communism that the communists are Jews, and that this is a Jewish power meant to end the world and meant to end society as we know it, and so on. It's just ridiculous, because at the same time, religious Jewish societies in Soviet Russia were suffering from oppression. And Stalin had nothing Jewish about him at all. He fought with a Jew, and he really didn't like Jews.
Or was he so thoroughly Jewish that he kind of crossed around and circled up to the other side and then didn't seem Jewish at all?
Maybe.
You don't know.
We will never know.
Matthew 18:6 says, if we were to even cause them, talking about kids, to stumble, there would be punishment. Yeah, you'd have a millstone tied around your neck. Bet it would be better for you to be tossed into the ocean. How much greater is the punishment for those who sleep with them? Good question. D. Wood, you are very immoral in your Putin live stream. You had no reason to rip the Quran like in 2020. I'm a Christian and you should repent. I don't remember what the reason was, but I had a reason. And any reason is a good reason for ripping up the Quran, as far as I can tell.
You're immoral for ripping up the Quran?
Yeah, I disagreed, and I said no. I had a reason. They said I had no reason, which I did. I did have a reason.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if that was a serious comment or not, but either way, I had a reason. There's another $5 for a Quran. So you see, everyone agrees. They want to see more of it. The people have spoken.
You see,
Muslim Lantern is just being coy. His position is that Aisha was a goat, hence mature at 9. That may be his actual position. David, AP, you guys.
There's something here to point out. Actually, who made that comment? Hitler also, Leif O'Reilly said Adolf thought capitalism was Jewish as well. True. He also had his theories about that. So Marxism to him was the evil Jewish thing, but he also depicted capitalism as this system set up by the evil ones as a stranglehold on Europeans, on white people, and all that. And his idea was to establish this. That's why his idea was national socialism, to have an anti-capitalist and anti-communist socialist system that is primarily focused only on Germans, on the German race, and everything bad was the fault of the Jews. And his fans nowadays, when they say dumb stuff like "Oh, communism Jewish," are basically just parroting his thoughts.
David, AP, you guys should reach out to Andrew and plan a discussion sometimes. He's quite nice and charitable if you exchange the same energy. Unfortunately, his nice nature is never shown in clips because it's boring to most. Well, I mean, if he's blasting away at Muhammad and Aisha, I'm fine with him not being nice. I'm fine with him not showing his nice nature. But yeah, I don't know. Hey, we got a I think our Muslim friend here. Glad you submitted a super chat to fund our work exposing your fake prophet. David, what was the age of consent in the Bible? We don't have a specific age of consent in the Bible. What you do have is your understanding that you're supposed to seek the good of all people, that people are created in the image of God, that you're not supposed to use them just for your own pleasure if it's harming them and so on. And so you're supposed to do good to everyone, to seek the well-being of all people. And as you learn, which means that as you learn what impact having sex with a prepubescent girl does to her, how that endangers her and endangers any offspring if she should get pregnant, then you don't do that. That's in addition to certain principles like, again, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So the simple question from a Christian perspective is, if I were a girl, at what age would I want a man to marry me and have sex with me? Well, when I'm fully developed, not when it's dangerous. And so very, very simple. Hope that helps. Yes. And so your fake prophet fails every conceivable test we can have. Hey, Brother David. Hey, Brother David, could you please make a video on how to engage with Muslims that reject their, sources, or randomly pick and choose which ones they believe? God bless you and your ministry. If you're talking about someone who's denying the hadiths and so on, you could always ask them questions about that. I'll give you a quick rundown instead of making a video about it. So if you're confronting someone and you bring up an issue like Muhammad and Aisha, for example, then they say, "Well, I don't believe in those sources." You should do a little digging there, because it could be someone who actually rejects the sources. It could be a legitimate Quran-only Muslim. It could be a Shia Muslim who doesn't believe in the Sunni sources and so on. But you have to do a little digging. And I say you have to ask a few questions, because usually a person who says, "Oh, I don't believe in those hadiths," it's actually just kind of pretending. And you can find that out by asking, okay, how many times a day do you pray? What's the Shahada? These are things found in the hadith. They don't come from the Quran, right? So you can ask questions like that to clarify their position. At the end of the day, if you find someone who just rejects the hadith, guess what? They can reject the hadith, and they can reject those stories about Muhammad and Aisha. And so if you're trying to do polemics against that, you just go Quran only in that situation. Just go Quran. Bring up passage in the Quran. Bring up Surah 65, verse 4. If you wanted to be on this issue. But yeah, so you'd go about it, but there are plenty of arguments you can make against Islam just by going to the Quran. And so I'd stick with
I would say that Quran only fans don't really have a very solid thing to stand on, a solid argument to stand on. And it very much depends on, again, yeah, exactly what David said.
David, what happened to the Tin Man on your shelf? Are you talking about on the shelf behind me? It's still there. It's cropped out right now. So I'd have to change the camera angle.
It's not there. I can see it.
Look at Sneeko's face. He is thinking 2-inch canal, still better than what I had to go through during my Islam conversion ceremony. Mo hijab and Tate took turns. What's wrong with you, man? These guys didn't do any of this.
Why?
Please watch Four Lions and do a live about it. I've heard that over and over again. I even looked up where to check it out on Amazon. I still haven't watched it though. Can we do a head-to-head knockout tournament to find the worst Muslim apologist, a bit like the best Christian apologist one, where Mike Winger came second? Worst Muslim apologist. That is rough. On Stalin being a Jew, how come in the beginning of World War II, Stalin made an alliance with Hitler? Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is the evidence.
Yeah, he did. And they were very well aware of the Nazi persecution of Jews. It didn't matter to them at all. They had no interest in Jews.
Yeah. Lloyd here, Muslim Lantern is the worst superhero ever. Muslim Lantern instead of Green Lantern. That's funny. By the way, you guys missed Momo's pen in my profile pic. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if that was. I just thought you had a, doesn't look like a jalapeno. Is that a Serrano? And Lloyd here, rumor is Mike Winger's real name is Mike O'Winger. We still making fun of Irish people? Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and let Muslim Lantern finish his powerful dawah.
That is not a creedal issue in the Muslim faith to begin with. So it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant argument. It's a losing debate from the beginning. For you, there are many Muslims who do believe, or there are some Muslims who do believe otherwise, that her age was not specifically that. And they talk about how the date of birth was not recorded as it is recorded today. They have his hospitals and writing the names and this and that. So the numbers and the ages and the date of birth was not as accurate as it is today. However, I hold the position that she was 6 with the contract and 9 with the consummation. That's my position. But I'm making a more important point now.
Wait. Okay, wait. Was he just saying? Did he just imply that some may hold that she was prepubescent? Is that what he said?
No, I think he was saying no. What he was saying is it's not required to believe that Aisha was 9. It's not an article of faith. He says I happen to believe it. But others don't have to believe it.
Okay. Yeah.
And he keeps going on and on about this, even though it's completely irrelevant, because you're like, what you've got 200 plus sources on the age of Aisha, and he agrees with those sources. And he's saying some people wouldn't agree with this. Okay, we're not interested in what some people could theoretically believe. You believe that this is authentic, and so defend it. And in his defense, he's saying, it's not required for us to believe it. I do, but I don't have to. I could still, in theory, be a Muslim and not believe this. Powerful. Dawah was powerful.
Is that it is not argument against Islam because I can still believe otherwise and be a Muslim. And therefore, that is not an argument against the religion of Islam.
Isn't
He
it
really
funny?
thinks he made a point. This is so stupid, man. So incredibly stupid.
It's extremely stupid because you look, I keep saying like the different Dawah guys have a different shtick. I'm not familiar with this guy, but it looks like what he does is, whereas the Muhammad hijab, he comes, you've been humiliated, weakling. He comes across as like strong. This guy's coming across like, oh, these guys are so dumb. These guys are so dumb. You're so dumb. This is so stupid what you're saying. And he's spouting complete idiotic nonsense the entire time. But his fans are too dumb to know. And that's sort of the dream situation to be in for Dawah guy. All right.
Because you're attacking something that is not a core foundation. The third reason that does not disqualify, does not argument against Islam, is because that does not disqualify Prophet Muhammad from being a prophet with the Christian biblical standards, the objective morality of Christianity. You have prophets in the Old Testament sleeping with their own daughters. You have prophets committing...
Whoa! Which prophet in the Old Testament slept with his own daughters? Muslims, I'm asking you, Muslims. Your guy just said prophets in the Old Testament sleep with their own daughters. Which prophets in the Old Testament sleep with their own daughters? Let me see that again.
Against the religion of Islam, because you're attacking something that is not a core foundation. The third reason that does not disqualify, does not argument against Islam, is because that does not disqualify Prophet Muhammad from being a prophet with the Christian biblical standards, the objective morality of Christianity. You have prophets in the Old Testament sleeping with their own daughters. You have...
Which prophet?
This is once again, a Muslim Dawah guy might now respond to this and say, "Oh, you see, David is so ignorant. He doesn't even know which prophet. He doesn't even know this topic." This only is once again a demonstration of how ignorant Islam is and how ignorant Muslims are.
Yeah, because we actually got, I don't know if this is from a Muslim or someone who is, I assume it is, because they put Lut, right? Lut, that's the Islamic version,
Yeah.
Lut.
Yeah.
Now, AP, you're not a Christian or a
no.
Jew. I mean, unless you're one of those in secret. Not a
I'm
Muslim.
secretly Jewish.
And so you have no idea what you're talking about on these issues. And what's funny is some people are responding, I think they mean Lot. Like I was actually confused, and I go, "Oh, what are they actually talking about?" And then, of course, you got the response here, retrictum. Lot is not a prophet. Lol. Yeah, guys, Muslims. That's the issue. And so we have. Does he mean Lot? Yeah. So guys, this is very simple. We keep talking about Muslims having their own stupid way of thinking and standard and so on, and then they apply that as if everyone else has to have that same standard. No, we don't. And here is a related situation. Lot, according to the Quran, is a prophet. Lot is not a prophet in the Bible. Lot's not a prophet in the Bible, right? So what is he talking about? Your prophets in the Bible, they have sex with their own daughter. Show me one. Show me that one. And keep in mind, if it were true, if a prophet in the Bible had sex with his own daughter, we would say that prophet did something wrong. When you guys talk about Muhammad having sex with a prepubescent girl, you don't believe that he was wrong. You believe that this guy's right. So you couldn't, even if we had it, which you didn't, it's another lie from a lying Dawah clown, because that's what they do. Even if you had it in the Bible, it would not mean the same thing, because you guys don't say Muhammad did this and it was wrong. You say Muhammad did this and it was right. And therefore, if you saw a prophet doing it in the Bible and it was wrong, how would that make sense to say that? In other words, if you could show the prophet doing the same thing that Muhammad did in the Bible, and Andrew says, yeah, and it's wrong in the Bible, then what? It would be wrong in Islam. That's what you guys are debating. You're debating whether this is right or wrong. You're debating whether it's right or wrong. So how would someone doing something wrong in the Bible just mean that it's okay for your prophet to do it? How? Think about this. What was the assumption that he just laid down? He says, you can't say it's wrong because according to your own Bible, a prophet in the Bible did this. One, he's not a prophet. But if it were the case, if you weren't lying and you were actually telling the truth here, we would still say it's wrong. We don't have this view that if a prophet does it, we have to automatically say it was right. We don't have that view. We don't have the view. So you're lying and stupid. That's a good summary of Dawah. Lying and stupid. This is wild stuff, man.
This is what Islam does. This is
yep.
one thing that I think people should understand about Islam is that it leads to ignorance of scripture, tradition, beliefs, history, whatever it is, because Islam does not have the Bible, despite the claim that it is that it affirms the Bible or the revelations of the Bible, the original Bible. It doesn't actually have anything of the Bible, which is why Muslims do not know anything about the Bible. They don't really understand it. They misunderstand it, and they think that, for example, Lot was a prophet because everyone mentioned in the Bible somehow becomes a prophet if they are adopted into Islam, because Muhammad was ignorant of how anything works. Secondly, they don't understand that the Bible has actual humans as figures and not weird, mindless, perfect beings like in the Quran, where prophets or whatever figures are mentioned are such figures that they can make no mistake at all, and that every single thing they do or every single thing that happens to them is good, and that it is a good moral example to everyone. That's not how the Bible works. That's not how anything works.
Yeah,
it is all completely wrong. In the Bible, you have humans, you have figures to whom things happen, or who do things, who even do bad things, and they repent and they change. And this is a lesson for people. It's because they are humans. This is actually more relatable, which makes the Bible actually a valuable source to read for people in terms of morality and teachings. The Quran doesn't have that. The Quran doesn't relate to people, or the people don't relate to the Quran because the Quran doesn't actually have proper stories where regular humans like you and me do things, or things happen to them and they then improve themselves.
Yeah. So following his logic, which I use that loosely, following his logic. So I read the book of Jonah, and God tells Jonah, go preach to the people of Nineveh, or I'm going to destroy them. That's how bad they are. Go preach to them to make them repent. And Jonah bolts. He doesn't want to do it. He wants God to destroy them. He bolts. He refuses. He runs in the opposite direction, gets in a boat, and bolts he wants to get as far away from preaching to them as possible. Following Muslim Leonard's reasoning here, I would have to say, oh, okay, therefore, when God tells me to do something, I have to go as far away as possible and do the exact opposite because a prophet did it. Not realizing, in the Bible, prophets are, sometimes just complete misfits, and the idea is God uses them anyway. And Muslims take their idea of a prophet, their stupid idea of a prophet, because it completely conflicts with everything we actually know about actual prophets and so on. And it contradicts texts that the Quran approves as the word of God. In other words, the Quran approves the Torah as divine revelation, and then contradicts it and says, "Oh no, prophets, these great moral guys and so on." Stupid. So he takes that idea. He takes that idea and then says, "Oh, this is what your view is." No, it's not. You have not. What is he saying that is correct here? So anyway, lie about Lot and have stupid reasoning even about his own lie.
Prophets committing polytheism. You have prophets killing and committing adultery, and they'll still consider prophets of God. Look what he just said here. He was making the case earlier. By the way, I would agree. I would agree with him to an extent here. He's saying you have prophets in the Bible who even commit adultery and things like that, and you still view them as prophets. Right, we view them as humans who sinned, and God judged them and punished them for what they did and so on. That is correct. And we would still consider them a prophet in some sense.
You see, David admits.
So he's saying, therefore you can't say Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl and it's wrong, therefore he is not a true prophet. That's not the debate. The debate is whether it's wrong. You could line up 100 Jews and 100 Christians and say, was it wrong for King David to commit adultery and have her husband killed to try and do away with what he did? 100 out of 100 Jews, 100 out of 100 Christians would all say, yes, it was wrong. Line up 100 Muslims. Was it wrong for Muhammad to have sex with a 9-year-old girl? You're not talking about the same thing here, dude. You can't use us saying, yes, these guys are the prophets do wrong things. Therefore, when your prophet claims to do a right thing that you believe is right, we can't object to that. Bull. Of course we can. If I'll go ahead and say it here. If you guys were to say Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl and it was wrong and immoral, but he didn't know better because he was stupid or evil or something like this, and he's still a prophet, make that case. But that's not what you guys do. You say, no, it was good for him to do this stuff. Not the same thing, dude. Not the same thing.
According to the Christian narrative. In fact, you have Isaac and Rebecca. Isaac married Rebecca at the age of 40 and she was 3, or all the way from 3 to 10. You can choose whichever one you like. And I can demonstrate
how about none of the above, and you can't prove any of that?
No.
that with evidences if you like.
He said, I can give you evidences if you like. No, you can't. No, you can't. Muslim Lantern, join us and show, according to sources that we accept, show us that Rebecca was 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11. Show us.
Or 12 or yeah.
Yeah, show us. Give us something. You can't. Muslim Lantern. I'll just say it here again. I've said it before. I'll say it here again. We know that this is really, really impressive to your fans. We know that when you go, Rebecca was 3, we know your fans go, great, she was 3, third. Everyone else who's watching is going, whoa, what an evil little liar. What an evil, pathetic little dirtbag liar. And you make our job easier. You make our job easier because now people are like, what? This is what dawah is? Oh my goodness. Yes, please blast away at this stuff. Please, if it produces a bunch of liars like this, yeah, expose this stuff. So you are making your own future enemies, and you wonder why you're dealing with that avalanche of apostasy.
Come to ask, and I'll give you sources and reasons and evidences for that.
No, you won't.
We have already an example of someone who did that who was not debunked or criticized by God or corrected by God. So in reality, you don't have any objective source to claim that this specific action.
Oh, he said, so I'm going to say that Isaac had sex with Rebecca when she's 3 or 4 or whatever, and therefore God didn't condemn it, and therefore it's fine. We don't agree with you. We don't agree that it happened. You giant clown. Dawah clowns, man. Oh, they're the worst.
Wrong. I'm waiting for that objective source, which should be the Bible, or a divine revelation in which morality sources from. So that is the first thing that I'm going to say. The second thing that I'm going to jump into is my specific position. What is my specific position? My specific position, because you would like to know my specific position, so I'll make it concisely in points.
I think Sneeko tells him after another minute or so, hey, you're going too long, so go ahead and stop it.
And then perhaps maybe I'll let you come in because I don't want to take a very, very long segment. Okay, my position is the following. Islam allows marriage. There is no sex or intercourse or any of that before marriage. So we don't have the idea of age of consent. We have the idea of marriage. It does not allow intercourse before marriage as Christianity, but people do not keep to that tenet. The second thing is a kid, because you have not defined.
You just said there's no concept of age of consent. We have marriage. Okay. And according to people like Daniel Hakikachu, you can marry a 4-year-old, have sex with a 4-year-old, consummate marriage with a 4-year-old. There's no age of consent. So there's no age at which a girl would be, there's no age where there would even be a concept to say, hey, you have to wait until you have some sort of mature faculties, cognitive faculties, to be making these kinds of decisions. He's saying there's no concept of that. So it wouldn't matter if she's 4 years old. He's saying there is no age at which you would say a girl has to be old enough to give consent to this. There's no concept of it. Your parents would consent for it. And I believe that's what he's about to say here. It's your parent who would consent for you. So it'd be following the Farid school of thought here.
I think he just said that Christians don't hold to it. He was talking about.
He said no. He said sex before marriage. He's saying, and Christians are supposed to believe the same thing, but they don't follow it.
No comment.
And I would like your definition of the word pedophile and your definition of the word child. And when is an act considered pedophilia? What is the exact specific age in which you would consider pedophilia? And then you would give me the
Go on,
objective
continue.
morality for where you came with these numbers from, right? Hopefully not just your subjective opinion.
I'll give you the quick answer here, Muslim Lantern. The standard definition of a pedophile, according to the DSM-5, is someone who is sexually attracted to, and it could either be a person who struggles with it but he resists it, or someone who does it. So in Muhammad's case, he didn't struggle and resist it; he went ahead and did it. But pedophilic disorder is being sexually attracted to a prepubescent, someone who's prepubescent. So it could be a boy or a girl, but someone who is prepubescent, as we read about Aisha in the Muslim sources. And another requirement is that the person is at least 5 years older. In other words, you're not talking about a 9-year-old attracted to another 9-year-old, in which case you'd say, oh, it's a pedophile. No, you're not. They're both 9 years old. Someone who's at least 5 years older. So if you're 18 or something like that, or 20 and you're attracted to a 9-year-old girl, you're in the pedophile category. So if you're talking about a guy who's 54 years old having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl, that is a pedophile according to just that. That's what a psychologist would say. So if you have
you see, David uses medical sources because he knows that Christianity is false.
And so, I mean, guys, just notice, this is dawah. Dawah is basically just trying to do away with any concept of it being wrong for a person in his 50s to have sex with a prepubescent little girl. Just trying to do away with that. And then we're the bad guys for opposing it. We're Islamophobes.
Second thing, a kid is someone who's under puberty, and adult is someone who's gone through puberty. In marriage in Islam, it has to be with the agreement of the father. There's something called the wali in Islam, who's the guardian of the girl, and without his agreement, any marriage in Islam is void. Prophet ﷺ, he said there is no marriage without the agreement and the blessing of the wali, i.e. the guardian, in this case the father, right? So this is our position. Any marriage without the agreement of the father is void.
Let's let Andrew respond.
I
I think there was a lot of points there. If you could wrap up this last one so we could let him
So
respond.
what if the parent is a terrible person?
That's an ongoing problem. We've discussed that before because when Daniel Hakikachu, when he said, as long as a girl, keep in mind, as revolting as Hakikachu was, he was at least saying, hey, wait for some sort of sign of maturity or something like that, which you don't even, I mean, not even the Quran doesn't say that. The Quran doesn't care. So Daniel Hakikachu, as revolting as he was, actually better than his own sources, and he's better than his God, and he's better than his prophet. But Hakikachu said, yeah, even if she's 5, even if she's 4, and then IP said, what if she's 3? What if she's 3? And he says, well, then it wouldn't really be possible for her to have started puberty or anything. And that's when IP, Inspiring Philosophy, said, actually, there are cases where you have precocious puberty. A girl has some sort of problem where she goes into puberty early as 11 months. So a girl starts puberty as an 11-month-old baby. What happens then? And Daniel says, oh, but the parents aren't going to consent to that. That's the question. What if your parents have been manipulated by some dawah clown saying there's no problem with it? Look, she's got pubic hair. Obviously, we can start banging her even though she's 11 months old. If you have convinced the parents of that, what then stops it? For you guys, nothing. That's why you need like a system of checks and balances around kids to protect them. You want good parents, you want good teachers, good school counselors, you want police if necessary, you want a bunch of people around your kid who have the best interest of your kid in mind. And if someone is not doing their job properly, in other words, if someone is abusing the child, someone steps in. If a parent is bad and is abusing the kid or allowing someone else to abuse the kid, yes, my dawah buddy wants to bang my 6-year-old, let me do it. You want other people coming in and arresting these guys. These guys want to make it just, nope, parental consent, whatever the parent says. What if you have a freaking dumb or evil or easily duped parent? Or what if you have a parent? What if you have a parent? Hey, give me your 6-year-old, I'll give you mine. In other words, they're willing to change. What if you have bad parents? These guys are saying that the government needs to be completely out of it. What do you do with crap parents? Anyway.
Why did you just sound
All
like
right.
Bill Clinton when you said that?
I didn't. You did.
I'll make number 4. I've got like 4 and 5. I don't know if he wants all of them or not,
just
but I'll
zoom
just
through
make
these real
number
quick.
4. If there is any type of harm on both the husband or the wife, the marriage is haram Islamically. Any type of harm that is established with evidences with proof.
You liar.
Sniveling.
Guys, did you just hear?
sniveling.
If there's any type of harm in a marriage, what happens? According to the Quran, you can beat your wife into submission. And we know what that means. You can, according to the Hadith, you can beat her until her skin turns green. What do you mean? That's not harm? The basis for the revelation of Surah 4, verse 34, allowing men to beat their wives, was a woman came to Muhammad with her father because a man had hit her in her husband had hit her in her face, and they wanted justice, and they wanted Allah to condemn what he did. And that's when Allah revealed, no, men have a right to beat their wives into submission. So if that's okay, if it's okay to beat your wife into submission, what do you mean by harm? Do you mean like permanent physical damage? Don't break their bones or something like that? You can't just say it's no harm, because you're obviously allowed to harm your wife. So why are you lying? So and notice everything this guy says, like everything, is either stupid or a lie or completely irrelevant. Guys, what point has he made that at all, in any conceivable way, makes you think, hey, you know what? He's actually right. It is okay for a 54-year-old man to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. What has he said? That it isn't a lie or irrelevant or just stupid.
So if we were to accept, and this is why I'm going to shatter his whole argument right now in a second.
Are you?
If we were to accept his argument that there was a scientific harm on a specific age of a girl that we can establish, then Islamically that is haram and not allowed, and therefore you have no argument there. Okay, I'll give him now the floor.
You
Okay.
didn't address his actual argument at all, which is that unless you want to say that Muhammad had a 1.8-inch penis, then he did harm her. He indisputably would have harmed her when he had sex with her when she was 9 years old. And you didn't address that at all. And you just said, oh, if there was harm, we wouldn't do it. Liar.
Let's just make one thing clear. Having sexual interactions with a little child, whether we are talking about a prepubescent one or one that just became that just started showing signs of maturity or being or started puberty, is generally considered medically proven to be harmful. There's enough research on this. There's enough evidence on this. So if this guy is actually going to say that medical research, medical evidence, if it is established, then yes, then we will say it is wrong. We already have it.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch that, Muslim Lantern? We have, hey, Muslim Lantern, you should debate it, inspiring philosophy on here, because if you're going to say, what? If we had evidence that it's harmful, then we would say it's wrong. Great. IP can give you a mountain of studies to show that having sex with little girls is harmful. If they get pregnant, it's harmful. Doesn't have to be. There could be, but the rates of problems for both the mother and the child skyrocket the younger you get. And
What
they
a
start to
sick
drop the
people.
older the girl gets, and then they kind of start, they kind of level off at a low rate of risk when the girl's around 18. Hence
What
another
a
reason.
sick people. What a sick population that we're dealing with in these.
That is, guys, think about it. These guys are obsessed. These guys are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with defending their right, the right of old men to spread the legs of little girls and have sex with them. And it's like the cornerstone of dawah now. Any dawah guy you find, he's defending child marriage right now. That's how important it is. And again, if you go back 10 years, they were saying we're liars for saying this stuff. No, they're lying. They said our prophet has sex with no, it's a lie. It's a lie. They said lie, 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 until we kept throwing the sources in their faces. Thousands and thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of times we share the sources until now. They shout it from the rooftops. Of course we defend child marriage. It's the greatest thing ever. Welcome to Islam. Yay! Sick stuff.
Dare you oppose my right to have sex with a little child? This is oppression.
This is apartheid. Hey. Look at Andrew Wilson there sitting with his cigarette. All right, so guys, now after this, it's just completely derailed because now they argue about whether Andrew has to. We'll just watch a couple seconds and see where it goes. But Andrew starts arguing that he's like, "What are you talking about? Show me that. Defend your prophet. Show me that that's okay. You haven't done that at all." Let's see.
Okay, so unfortunately, we have to go back to the meta here for just a second, have a meta conversation about the debate. So the Trinity is a Christian doctrine. It's not a Muslim doctrine. So I would be on defense for that portion. So for me to say, what about what Muslims believe, though, has nothing to do with the Trinity. So because it has nothing to do with the Trinity, in good faith, I would just simply defend the logical position of the Trinity. What he's doing is engaging in, I have to do whataboutisms in order to defend my worldview. Also, even if I was immoral, had no moral paradigm whatsoever, and completely didn't believe in any sort of higher power nor objective morality, I could still be able to prove inconsistencies in your moral worldview, sir. So if it's inconsistent from your worldview and you advocate that it is indeed moral, I could still prove that without having any objective standard for morals at all. Why?
Guys, so think about the point he. What's that?
Why are you stuttering?
So think about what he just said there. He said, even if I had no moral framework, I had no moral position or anything, I could still point out inconsistencies, which that's kind of what his original argument was based on. He's saying, you guys say that your principle is that it's okay to have sex with a little girl unless it harms her. So based on what you have said, I can show that if Muhammad had sex when she was a 9-year-old girl, it harmed her, or you have to say that your prophet had a 1.8-inch penis. Take your pick. So it's very simple. Muslim Lantern, you can say, yes, our prophet had a 1.8-inch penis, or he harmed her. Take your pick. Guys, that was, what did he do? He's saying, this is you. You've laid out your principle of harm. According to your principle of harm, your prophet harmed her, unless you want to say he had a 1.8-inch penis. That's what he just did. Guess what? He's right. You don't have to have any moral position to point out the implications of what the other person's position has claimed.
You understand that, right? You understand how debates work. You have a proposition. My job is to falsify the proposition. I don't have to give you a counter proposition. I don't have to give you a counter worldview. Totally unnecessary, just like with the Trinity. A secularist is able to falsify the Trinity just as well as an Islamicist is. Do you get that?
And so Muslim Lantern is going to, so this goes on for how long? This goes on for over 35 more minutes. Over 35 more minutes. They then argue about whether Andrew has to defend against all these claims in order to continue the debate on whether Muhammad's relationship with Aisha is morally acceptable. And so Muslim Lantern says basically, he's running, he's scared of me, he doesn't want to answer these things. And Andrew's going, it's not the debate, it's not the topic, and so on. And then I'll just fast forward. So they're going back and forth, 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 until he's just basically saying, I'm not interested in going on. I'm not interested in continuing. And so he stops here at the end, and then Sneeko puts them both out the room.
Wait, so he ran from the debate?
Yes, he ran. You see?
This
is what he gets. This is what he gets after making Matt Dillahunty do it. So Matt Dillahunty said, Matt Dillahunty said, if this is what the debate's going to be like, I'm not interested. And here Andrew did it. Said, okay, if we can't agree on the rules here, then it's done. It's kind of funny though, because right after their debate, right after this debate, they were supposed to have a debate on the Trinity. And so they never got to the debate on the Trinity because Muslim Lantern wasn't willing to actually just defend his own prophet on this. And keep in mind, I kind of agree with both of them. I agree with Andrew saying I don't have to defend anything in order to point out the problems with your worldview. That is correct. I also agree with Muslim Lantern that if you think the other person is being inconsistent, you can point out inconsistencies and so on. The problem is Andrew's not being inconsistent on this. It's Muslims act like everyone else is inconsistent, and then they just lie to make things up, to pretend that the other person's being inconsistent, and they have to. They have to. So they'll go to the Bible and they'll make up all kinds of things. Rebecca was 3, Mary was 12. They'll make up all these things, and then they apply their own Islamic principles and to the Bible that Christians have never. We don't hold those same ideas about prophets being these morally perfect individuals and so on. Anyway, just an epic dumpster fire, and Sneeko right afterwards says, "Oh, that was a waste of time."
Well, it's kind of, of course, a week of, on behalf of Andrew Wilson to simply, rage quit the debate. But I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. It's kind of up to you. If you're like, I do not want to proceed. I do not want to proceed with this debate. If this is going to happen, you have that right. But I will say, that should have been settled ahead of time. It should have been settled ahead of time. If you wanted rules, if Muslim Lantern wanted rules about not calling Muhammad a pedophile or something like that, and Andrew wanted rules about not committing the tu quoque fallacy or something like that, you guys should have arranged that ahead of time. But I mean, yeah, if Muslim Lantern wanted to debate the Trinity, just lost your chance, buddy. Just lost your chance there.
Yeah, I think Andrew Wilson shouldn't have rage quit the debate. It's kind of it's not very brave. It's kind of a cowardly thing to do, to be honest. What can I say?
Who are you? He's the one on stage there, standing up like a man. What are you doing, sitting here calling people a coward? No, I think what you could have done is just said, fine, bring up. He could have said, hey, I'm going to continue. You go ahead and say whatever you want. I'm not going to respond to anything that I don't actually believe is relevant. So I'm just going to keep blasting away at your prophet. And then whatever the guy brings up, blah, 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 blah. What about King so-and-so? Guess what? Don't care about King so-and-so because we're talking about your prophet molesting a prepubescent little girl. Here are the sources. Something like that.
But the thing is, when Matt Dillahunty quit the debate because of his attitude, people were like, "Oh, see, rage quit. Why would you do this? Pathetic." But
yeah, it was very similar situations. Very similar situations. So Matt's saying, "Hey, I don't want to go down this road. So I either agree not to go down this road, or I'm not debating." And yeah, Andrew did the same thing there. Andrew did the same thing here. So if you guys condemned Matt Dillahunty for doing it, explain how Andrew Wilson is different. With that said, he brought up a very awesome point that I think is going to
continue with the mental gymnastics now, trying to explain that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just want to say for years to come, I think that Andrew has already made his impact with this one thing he did there. And poor Muslim Lantern didn't even get to attack the Trinity like he wanted to. And poor Muslim Lantern thinks he did a great job. And I called him scared. I said he's running. And then the debate is ended. And the only takeaway for anyone is either Muhammad had a 1.8-inch penis or he damaged Aisha and broke your own harm principle, in which case you're all lying.
Yeah.
Interesting, fun stuff. All right, guys, I just did want to add one little thing for our friends who were saying, for our good friends who were denying that Surah 65, verse 4 allows sex with prepubescent girls.
If you look just at the Quran,
let's get a true expert.
You will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. The reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all.
Not at all.
If you just read the Quran, it is halal. It would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old.
If you just read the Quran, it would be halal to have sex with a 5-year-old. Why is that? Give us the verse, Muhammad Hijab. But David, if you quote the verse, you're making it up. But if Muhammad Hijab quotes it, then what?
In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ.
What's that mean, Muhammad Hijab? What's that mean?
That's exactly
The ones who had never been pubescent before.
Never been.
And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this.
Me too.
The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds.
Well, you do believe it's okay in certain circumstances. Your sources say you got to wait till if the girl's a little chubby and so on, she can support the weight of a man and so on, then you're good to go.
Or whatever, is not because of puberty. Wait a minute, what did you say?
Wait a minute, what did you say?
It's not because of puberty, because that
Look at these poor girls standing there watching this. Look at all this. All these poor girls.
Wait a
sitting there
minute,
watching
what
this.
did you say?
Wait a minute, what did you say?
verse in the Quran actually says lam yahid. They never had puberty before. You can't go around that. The Quran does.
What did he just say? You can't go around that. You can't go around the fact. What was he talking about? You can't go around the fact that the Quran does not require puberty. It allows you to have sex with prepubescent girls. He said you can't go around that. And so his conclusion, his takeaway conclusion is, the Quran, according to the Quran, it would be halal to have sex with a prepubescent 5-year-old girl. Says puberty is not a requirement. What he does find is you have this harm principle in the hadith, don't cause harm. And he's going to say, we can apply that. And therefore we conclude that we don't harm the girls. But puberty cannot be a requirement because the Quran specifically refers to having sex with prepubescent girls. And therefore it has to be something else. So, and this is the exact same position as Muslim Lantern. Although Muslim Lantern doesn't grant prepubescent. Hijab is saying, yeah, you apply the harm principle. You can't apply puberty as a requirement. So you can totally have sex with a prepubescent girl as long as you're not harming her. But it doesn't define what the harm is, because we know what the harm is according to the Muslim sources. And it's not talking about just general bodily harm. It's talking about like ripping them open and so on.
Say
You know about the phrase, right? You know about the Islamic principle, the first do no harm. So
The real principle is for our good friend Muslim Lantern, the principle would be old enough to bleed, old enough to breed. And then Muhammad Hijab's principle is no need to bleed, still old enough to breed.
doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent.
True.
I dare you to find one verse in the Quran
I can't.
where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm,
That's right. Doesn't say.
or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty.
I can't find
So
one.
if you're Quran
Not
alone,
one.
you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent. One verse. I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book.
Preach, brother Hijab, preach. Show these people that the Quran allows sex with prepubescent little girls, and that you only have to go out. You have to go outside the Quran to somewhere else to find that you shouldn't be doing this. Show us.
To the end of the book which says that she has to be pubescent.
I've just said that.
So okay, so that makes it halal from your perspective.
it doesn't.
From your perspective, it's halal. You know in the Quran it says حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ. It says you're not allowed to marry your mum. It says you're not allowed to marry your sister, your auntie. Where does it say you're not allowed to marry
Good question.
a prepubescent? I'm looking for one verse
One.
that you can say, you pinpoint it and say this is where it says prepubescent marriage or whatever is not allowed. So if you're Quran alone, you're steered towards pedophilia, and a severe type of pedophilia.
A severe type of pedophilia. By the
it's
way,
important to point that out. It's the severe type. That's the problem. Not the
isn't this
pedophilia.
funny? Muslim Lantern, don't call Muhammad a pedophile. And you got Muhammad Hijab here. If you look at the Quran, you'll be steered towards a severe type of pedophilia. That's why we need to go to the Hadith.
A wife abuse, a severe type of wife abuse.
A severe type of wife abuse. That's what you'd get from the Quran. Allah's perfectly clear book.
And again, to point out, wife abuse is not the actual problem. What's the problem is that it's a severe type of wife abuse.
Severe type of wife abuse. He had to clarify severe. You've pointed it out before, that he had to clarify severe type of wife abuse and severe type of pedophilia, because he understands, of course, Islam allows pedophilia and wife abuse, right? It's a severe type. When he talked about it, he was like, you would think that you could chop your wife's head off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, that's the state of dawah right now. This is where they've decided to take their stand on the great hill of banging little girls. Powerful stuff. All right, we'll take these last super chats. Thank you, Brother David. I did mean hadiths. Oh, that was earlier. He asked about what about Muslims who are rejecting sources and so on. He says, yes, I did mean hadith. Sorry, I meant to say hadith on my question. You're totally fine. The reason I asked for a video.
Shame on you.
So the reason I asked for a video is because I send your videos to my Muslim friend that seem to pick and choose. Yeah, but I mean, that's always a point you can make because I don't know your friend. I don't know why your friend would reject the sources and so on. So you'd have to ask that and then ask what the basis is and then find out if your friend's being consistent. Because if your friend says, I reject the hadith, but that person prays 5 times a day and recites the Shahada, then that person is taking stuff from the hadith. And those videos start discussions. Yes, I do like starting discussions. In fact, that is one of the main reasons for making the videos. Isa says, so sad they really need a world religion class. Yes, they do. The Dawah guys all learn from each other. And the goal never seems to be like getting to the truth or coming up with a coherent position. It's always, hey, how can we dupe someone? What works in duping people? And they stick with that. ML is probably, Muslim Lantern is probably the slimiest liar among the Dawah guys. I don't know. That'd be a tough call.
Yeah, I must say I didn't know anything about this guy. This is the first time that I'm actually watching an extended discussion or debate that he's having, and man, really not striking me as a good guy. He's just doing typical dishonest Dawah things, and it's just disgusting, man.
And again, this is what makes you popular. This is what gets you attention in Dawah. What does that say? What does that tell you? Because you have lots of Muslims who aren't like this, so they don't want child marriage, they don't approve of these things. But who actually becomes popular in defending Islam? People who are shouting this stuff from the rooftops. So that shows you there's a disturbing number of people in the population who support this stuff because these are the guys they're propping up. In other words, I mean, if a Christian came out and started saying, you know what, it's okay to have sex with 5-year-olds, that dude is done. He's toast. We would run him out of the realm of Christian apologetics. People would not take him seriously. Why is it that in Islam you start running, yes, let's defend banging little kids, and you become like the hero of the ummah? What's going on there? Question to hijab, hakia, Jew, etc. Can you be turned on by 9-year-old girls? Do you mean is it morally acceptable to be turned on by 9-year-old girls? Or are you talking about them specifically? Like, would you hijab or would you hakikachu? Would you be turned on by a 9-year-old girl?
It sounds like the question is, would they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I would guess yes. Like, why not? If they think it's totally acceptable, and a completely reasonable thing to do, and they love defending it, why would they? And their own prophet was attracted to a 9-year-old girl. Why would they why wouldn't they also if they saw a really pretty little girl? Some women may not have a figure to fit as a wali. Yeah, that's true. It was settled ahead of time. They tried to change the rules of the debate during the debate itself. Yeah, again, they should have settled any of those disputes beforehand, and hopefully they learned the lesson from that. And in the future, if they have another debate, hopefully they agree beforehand. Mo, I'm coming. Aisha, what are you even in? What are you even in? That's pretty rude. We got one of AP's fans over here spreading this coarse joking. GVid says, how do I become a good apologetic like you, David? Well, get a bunch of mental health problems and no, if you want to be a good apologist, I'll say figure out what you're interested in because there's so much stuff out there. Figure out what you want to be dealing with. Like, do you just want to be defending the gospel? Do you want to be addressing Islam? Do you want to be talking about cults? What do you want to be talking about? Do you want to talk about atheism or something like that? Figure out what you're interested in. You should, as a Christian, always want to be defending Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity. And, of course, the existence of God, since that's an issue nowadays. But yeah, figure out what you want to do and
Then do it.
start learning. And I would suggest GVids as sort of an easy first step. Get the book Tactics by Greg Kokel. That's about having discussions, even if it's an area where you're talking to someone who's way more knowledgeable than you. How you can kind of navigate the discussion and so on to make it productive. But yeah, so read Tactics, figure out what you're interested in, then start learning there. You can either learn by videos and so on, and there's no shortage of places to engage in discussions on social media or in person. So yeah, learn as you go. Talk to people. If they bring up something you're not familiar with or you don't know, so say, hey, I'd like to study that. Let's get together again after I go and study this and learn on
Oh,
the
you
go.
can't do that. That means you are a loser. You have to know everything.
Islam is antithetical to the natural law. Reason shows wife abuse and intercourse with a child is wrong. But Allah from eternity says otherwise. Yeah, Allah from his eternal speech that he had all eternity to get exactly the way he wanted says you can beat your wives into submission. So if that's actually wrong, then you have a problem with Allah's eternal speech. And then we have, are you going to react to Jay Dyer versus Muslim Lantern next? I don't know.
Should.
Do you want to? When was that? How long ago was that? Is that recent or like
That was around
a
the
year
same
ago?
time. Around the same time. I think it was part of the same stream or so.
Oh, okay. Should we go through some of those?
Possibly.
I
Jay
wouldn't
Dyer
mind.
is good. I
wouldn't
Jay.
mind. I wouldn't mind going through some of those. I wouldn't mind going through. There's a bunch of political stuff that's going to be going on in the near future. We might want to react to some of that stuff, and I can tell people, it doesn't matter who you pick, you're totally doomed. Something along those lines. All right, man.
That's
All
the
right,
message
everyone.
everyone needs. Alhamdulillah.
All right, guys. So that's the current state of dawah. What are we getting every single time on this issue? They offer nothing remotely resembling an actual defense of why it's okay for a 54-year-old man to have sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. They offer no defense, no legitimate defense at all. They don't actually defend it, and they throw up a bunch of nonsense into the air, knowing that their followers are too dumb to realize that they're not actually accomplishing what they set out to accomplish. But everyone else is horrified and repulsed. You have more and more people realizing, wow, these guys are obsessed with defending sex with little girls. And people are waking up. Good times, ladies and gentlemen. Good times.
Good times.
Good times. These are good times. In fact, as far as wrecking Islam, these are the best times in history so far.
Jeez.
All right, guys. Again, I recorded a video on the Shroud of Turin. Unless something is horribly messed up, I'll have to see. Unless something is horribly messed up with the video, then that should be up in the morning.
Inshallah.
Any final word, AP? Any final word, announcement, anything?
I would say thoughts on the debate. I would give it I think it was a terrible debate. I would give it a score of 1.8.
I would also give the debate a score of 1.8, although the new argument and the new source of mockery that we can use that Andrew Wilson brought up, I give that a 10. I was about to
Or
say
an
9.
8.1.
I was about to say 9, yeah. I was about to say 9. But awesome, funny thing. And again, Muslim Lantern, how stupid are you? You go in there, you tell a bunch of lies, you tick off everyone who, keep in mind, you're trying to reach people. They could have said, he's making a good point, but you never made a point that anyone with an ounce of intellectual ability would agree with. Instead, you repulse them, you enrage them by lying and completely misrepresenting things and making stupid points and defending child marriage and pedophilia. You tick people off. Meanwhile, Andrew Wilson just gave people something to really make fun of your prophet about. And now it's going to happen for a long time. All thanks to you. Great job. Great job, Dawa clowns. Keep up the good work. And we'll catch everyone next time with whatever we're talking about. But I guarantee right around the corner will be another awesome debate about child marriage, because Sneeko does not want to let this go. Sneeko found the right religion for him if he wants to constantly defend this. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time.
By the way, I hereby challenge Muslim Lantern to a debate. Okay. All right. See ya.
On child marriage or anything else?
Islam.
All right. You heard it here, Muslim Lantern. And you can even have the debate right here on this channel.
Sure.
Happy to host.